Self-proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. Faux patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated. Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left. That's right. A failing media that's barely treading water. They're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough. Hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk comes the left. That's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. 'Cause Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left. That's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left. That's right.
as you can see with the large headphones I have on my head. Part of the technical difficulties was something happened and I couldn't quite get my earbuds to work properly. I don't know what was going on with it. I could hear it for a second, but then I couldn't see anything in my soundboard. Like that wouldn't play. That wasn't picking it up, and then everything stopped picking it up. So I was trying to restarted the computer, and, tried to do as much troubleshooting as I could in the limited amount of time that I had, and well, we're just gonna stick with the older headphones for a bit, or at least the ones I use during my gaming stream on Tuesdays. So it looks a little more clunky, but it
is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Anyway, so shouts out to everybody in the chat. We got Jackie, Josh, Fancy, Joseph, Suzanne, Steven, MJ Daniel, Suzanne, let's see, Aaron. I was about to say we were about to be modless for a bit, but we do have a mod. Aaron just rolled into the chat. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us. Appreciate you. Best wishes and all our love go out to Jolie, who lost a family member, I think yesterday. But so best wishes, best thoughts to her. All of us sending our love to her. Trucker John's in the chat. Good to see you, Trucker John, working and lurking. Best way to be. At least just don't doing anything else. Let's see. Audio is low. Let's see, because I made a change. That's probably why. That's low. Well, how's the microphone audio? Is the microphone audio fine, or because the other audio was all the way down to like 60 something. So now we're higher, and hopefully that'll be better. Hopefully that'll be the fix that is needed. Impeccable Living is in the chat.
Oh my.
Good to see you, Impeccable Living. Volume is quieter than a field mouse fart. Hopefully that changed it. Hopefully that fixed it. Anyway, again, technical difficulties. Because why wouldn't I have technical difficulties? I've just had a wonderful past couple days. So my the procedure I had, the kidney stone removal, or the zapping, or whatever, the pew-pewing of my kidney stones, was supposed to cost like $1,200. Was supposed to put me at the end, or the max out of pocket. Should have been hit 2 Thursdays ago. It's now the 28th of July, and I have another procedure coming up on the 5th and another procedure coming up on the 14th, and they still haven't processed. The insurance still hasn't processed the claim. As such, I'm still having to pay money for things, even though I'm at my max out of pocket. And I guess once they actually finally process that thing, I'll have to wait for a refund. So they're just collecting more money than they should be collecting because they can't process a claim fast enough. And people wonder why we want to move. There are so many of us that want to move away from a privatized health insurance system, and why we want things like Medicare for all, Medicaid for all, etc. It's because of bullcrap like this, where I have to shell out thousands of dollars a year on premiums, and then another $8,000 to hit my max out of pocket, and they can't even process it on time. And now I have to frickin' pay for bills that I shouldn't have to be paying for, that I can't afford to pay for. So yeah, that's frustrating. I have a whole bunch of other frustrating crap going on I'm not going to bore y'all with, but it's just just check. Is it still low, Josh? Are we still coming in lower than what we should? Because it looks like it should be fine at this point, but I don't know. Maybe we can move that better. Let me play an oh my again just to see. It's better. Okay.
Oh my.
I mean, it sounds good to me, but then again, who knows? I'm not the one. I can't play what y'all are hearing, because you'll hear double and triple and quadruple, and it won't be pretty. So anyway, very frustrating about lots of different things. I don't know how long of a show I'll have tonight, simply because of the fact that, tonight would be the night tonight would be a great night, at least for y'all, for a conservative to call into the show and argue with me, because I've just had about enough. Like, I really just have had about enough with all of the crap that's going on. Let me go ahead, let me just pop open my email real quick, just to get, let's see, what was the email that I sent first to Jeff? Because if I would have said these things to Jeff, I would have been banned from the show, because I probably would have cursed on the show, whatever. So I sent him a meme, or not a meme, but an image of alligator Alcatraz or whatever. And I'm like, you get so angry that I suggested this is similar to Dachau, you won't even take the time to consider what if I'm right. I don't loosely use the term Nazi, but when I do, it's with careful thought and consideration and comparing Trump's actions with those in 1930s Germany, etc. So he goes, Dan, there are people who are waiting. These are people that are waiting deportation. They are illegal aliens. They are not being gassed and rounded up because of their religion. Their stay in the facility will be temporary. Florida officials deny the reports of abuse and treatment. Of course, why are you believing Florida reports? You know, I thought government wasn't to be trusted, conservatives. What really bothers me is the tendency among leftists to compare what Trump's doing to Hitler, a genocidal maniac who killed 6 million Jews among many. Yeah, we don't want to get to that point, you fucking idiot. We don't want to get to the goddamn point where we're actually seeing, like, you know, the 65 million being killed, like Laura Loomer suggested could happen, because that's a lot of food. That's 65 million lives could be a lot of meals for alligators. Trump is not a Nazi and not Hitler, blah, 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 blah. These constant comparisons to Nazism demean those who were killed in the Holocaust. It's insulting and not appropriate. While Hitler was a warmonger who loved invading countries and killing people, Trump is a peacemaker who's been nominated for the Nobel Prize. Quite a difference. And that's just where I went off. Has this administration made sure that all people detained here are in violation of our laws? What about that woman from Lakeview? That question never got responded to. What about the gay makeup artist? That question never got responded to. What about the child who was already here legally getting health care and Trump has said, nope, revoked? That's not him targeting the worst of the worst. It's him being the worst of the worst. And why can't you understand the simple concept? Dachau did not have gas chambers either when it opened. You are unwilling to call this Florida, quote, detention center a concentration camp because it doesn't have a gas chamber. Dachau didn't have a gas chamber when it opened either, or for the next 9 years to stop saying concentration camps must be death camps, because historically that's not how they started. I compared Trump to Hitler because he's using Hitler's playbook. He started campaigning in 2016 on a total complete ban of Muslims entering the country. That's scapegoating an entire religion. Hitler did that. Trump more recently did that. That he said if he lost in 2024, it would have been the fault of the Jews. That's not something that someone who is not an anti-Semite would say. These are the words of an anti-Semite. Must suck to be his daughter married to a Jewish person to know your dad is a horrible piece of shit. He also started off calling everything fake news to cast seeds of doubt on the media reports about him. Hitler did this by calling them the lying press, or Lügenpresse in Germany. I'm fucking Jewish, Jeff. I guarantee you that I've learned more about the Holocaust in my 8 years of Hebrew day school, plus additional years of high school and college taking courses on how to recognize anti-Semitism when it happens. Have you ever taken a course such as that? Know that perhaps you should shut up and listen when we are telling you that we're repeating the same crap from history, and y'all don't want to admit the harm y'all caused for voting for this piece of shit, because Trump hasn't caused millions of deaths yet. And denying his Nazi-esque desires and burying your head in the sand is a real insult to the Holocaust victims and their families. Trump can claim to want peace. He's not solved Russia and Ukraine like he said he would. He keeps saying that there's a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas when there's not. Let's rewind to 2016 when he said we should bomb the families of terrorists and then take their oil with our military. Or fast forward to say when he wanted to ethnically cleanse Gaza and build a resort instead. That's not a lover of peace. Let's see. Continue on there. Biden-Harris lost support for, and he goes on to claim crap about how the left not supporting Israel. Biden-Harris lost support from the left for Biden's support of Israel. You really have no clue what you're talking about in this issue, and the sad thing is you won't even listen or accept that you might be wrong on this issue. See, what does he say? I have no clue. Give me a break. What did Biden do for Israel? Blah, 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 blah. It's not irrelevant. It's not irrelevant that his daughter, son-in-law, and grandchildren are Jewish. His friends, kind of. Would an anti-Semitic want to surround himself with Jewish people? Keep your friends close, enemies closer, right? My comments about Nazis and Hitler thoroughly discussed. I don't even know if I can call into this show anymore, simply because of the fact that I can't stand dealing with this crap. Anyway, well, if someone wants to be on my podcast, we'll deal with that in a little bit. We'll deal with that later. But yeah, I'm just had it up to here with frickin' conservatives. And even like there's this guy over on TikTok, ZE Silver, whatever his name is, and like the Jewish people who I'm Jewish, if you don't know, duh. But the Jewish people who are migrating over to the side of the right because they don't like that, Democratic officials supported Mamdani. I mean, they're freaking cozying up to a goddamn Nazi because they're afraid, they don't like the fact that one mayoral candidate had some mean words. And another one, he said, well, there's an incumbent Jewish mayor in was it Minneapolis? Or maybe it was Minneapolis, maybe it's somewhere in Minnesota. I don't know. But there's some Jewish mayor who's the incumbent, and the local Democratic Party, which is not even a Democratic Party, it's the Democratic and Farm whatever, because they're weird out there, and they can't have just a Democratic Party. They have to whatever. I don't know. They're weirdos with that, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, because then the reason why this person gave for why we should be upset about it is because the person who the Democratic Party, or the de facto Democratic Party in that city, endorsed happened to be a Somali individual. What does that have to do with the price of anything? Like, it drives me nuts. What drives me really crazy is seeing Jewish people being bigots, because nobody should have to be told to not be a bigot. It's Jewish people. And I'm saying that from experience because, I'm a Jewish person, and I've learned how, bigotry has harmed us. I've seen how bigotry harms us. We should know the evils of bigotry, and we should not continue to do it. And when they start doing it and then go on and back a frickin' Nazi wannabe like Donald H. Trump or whatever, it's just, you've learned nothing from history. I mean, these people would be called collaborators back in the 40s. That's how bad they are. So frickin' bad they are. See, MAGA and Nazi-loving Larry Ellison is now majority owner of CBS Paramount. Seems like a bad idea to me. Absolutely. Really double thinking my that Paramount subscription at this point. See, Josh, Liberal Dan debates conservatives while passing a kidney stone and wins. Exactly. That's why everybody should watch me, but yet nobody does. The Nazi Party started going after press, the courts, the higher education, gay and trans people markets before the Jewish Germans. Yeah, I know. And, but that's the problem with these fucking idiots on the right. These goddamn idiots on the right want to say, oh, well, we're not killing the people. They're not exterminating people in these camps. Well, no shit. We don't want to get there either, dumbasses. Oh, hey, Jolie, good to see you. I'm very sorry for your loss. Wasn't expecting you to be here, but we are very happy to see you here nonetheless, obviously. We all love you, so there you go. See, Kristallnacht was 1938, attacking German Jews. This was long after the Nazis started attacking the minorities. Yes, exactly, VD Hertz. And I'm trying to tell Jeff this and other people this, and these fucking idiots won't goddamn understand that it never started off as a fucking death camp. You don't start off your camps as death camps, even if you do want to kill these motherfuckers. Even if you want to kill the motherfuckers, you don't start off as a death camp. You started off as something that's, a place where just to send people on a little vacation or whatever. Drives me absolutely fucking up the wall. Hurry back, Jolie. Yeah, they're trying to flood the zone so people tune it out. Yeah, exactly. But still, the fact that these idiots are... this guy is defending a child molester defender. Like, this guy Donald Trump is enabling child molesters to get away with their crimes because he won't release the damn files that he promised he would release. The one thing he could have done that I would agreed with, and he's fucking not doing it. And even Jeff Guerrero is like upset about the lack of them releasing the Epstein files, but he won't fucking realize that maybe if Donald Trump lied about releasing that shit, that he's not going to lie, that he's lying about all the other shit too. And maybe you should stop believing a pedophile protector. But no, they can never admit that they're goddamn wrong simply because of the fact that they would have to admit that they made a mistake in who they supported. So they will sit there and make excuses and watch people get carted off to concentration fucking camps in the middle of Florida, send money so that states can open other ones within their borders as well so we can have more concentration camps, and then sit there and be like, oh no, those aren't concentration camps. You're being mean to the Jews who were dead even though we're supporting people. Like, frickin' Jeff Gore had fucking David Duke on his show, and he can't fucking understand the goddamn point that if you know, David Duke's children married a black person, and one of David Duke's kids married a black person, you think he would magically start loving black people all of a sudden? No, you moron. He wouldn't do that at all. He would still continue hating people, and he would hate the fact that his daughter did it. But maybe if he was in a public office like he wanted to be, maybe he would have to, you know, do it a little bit on the DL and play nicey nice. But no, you still can't forget the fact that David Duke was the goddamn Grand Wizard of the KKK. I'm not going to forget the fact that Donald Trump said that he would want the people with yarmulkes counting his money instead of black people. I'm not going to forget that Donald Trump called corrupt bankers Shylocks. I'm not going to forget that Donald Trump said that if he lost this most recent election, he was at a conference on anti-Semitism, said if he would have lost this election, it would be the fault of the Jews. Well, who fucking in history scapegoated an entire religion, specifically the Jews? Well, a lot of people have, but including Adolf fucking Hitler. Sorry if you have kids around watching today's show, because today's show is, you know, maybe perhaps a little bit more expletive-laden than normal. So, see, when they eventually do release the files, they built in a chain of evidence custody glitch, so nothing will happen. Probably. Hey, Susie, good to see you. Wish I couldn't be as, you know, angry as I am, I guess, whatever. I don't know. And there's other stuff I'm not complaining about live on the air or whatever, but whatever. Anyway. So, as we all know, it's going on to a lighter topic at least, giving us a little bit of a break from the potential aneurysm that I'm trying to have. As we all know, I've been doing a reimagining of Tom Lehrer songs because Tom Lehrer had let, you know, all of his music go into the public domain so that people could have fun with it or whatever, and I've been having fun with it. And then I found out today that over the weekend that Tom Lehrer died, which sucks. I mean, I'm not sitting here mourning the death of Hulk Hogan or anything. I mean, Ozzy, you know, I sat here thinking about Ozzy Osbourne, especially because I was at my writing class on Thursday, and the person who runs the writing class, his name is Stephen Ray. He's a local author, and he was, you know, was basically family friends, basically de facto family of the Osbournes. Like, he went to the last concert. He used to work as a roadie when he was like 16 years old. Like, there's a book coming out, and we'll be talking about the book. I'm sure I'll have Stephen on as a guest to discuss his book and everything like that. But I can only imagine, like, this scene. I think the funeral's supposed to be Thursday. I don't know any other facts about that, but I'm sitting there and I was thinking to myself, what if they start playing frickin' Mama, I'm Coming Home at the goddamn funeral? I mean, that would just, you want to make everybody cry? That's the way to make everybody cry. Yeah. So, but Hulk Hogan, you know, I mean, he was an iconic wrestling figure, but also a piece of crap, so I'm not going to be sitting here mourning him not that much, if at all. Chuck Mangione also passed away, and I did like his Feel So Good song. That was one of my favorite songs, especially growing up. So I really, you know, another loss going on. But we keep losing people over and over again, and then to see we lost Tom Lehrer. One of the songs I hadn't done yet in my reimagining series of Tom Lehrer was the song that Tom Lehrer made about National Brotherhood Week. And you have to dig if you want to actually find information about what National Brotherhood Week was, or, you know, because I don't think we do it anymore, because most of the hits that when you search for National Brotherhood Week will bring you to Tom Lehrer and him playing a piano singing the song about National Brotherhood Week. Let's see, Tom Lehrer is a math professor turned musician satirist, mocking the idea of National Brotherhood Week in the 60s. National Brotherhood Week was celebrated for decades in the United States, particularly in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Brotherhood Week had its roots in a rising anti-immigrant, anti-Catholic, and anti-Jewish sentiment in the 1920s. But to counter that narrative, the group formed in 1927 called the National Conference for Christians and Jews. Sounds like a beginning of a joke. with an aim of combating the hatred and intolerance that's all around them, specifically religious intolerance. The NCCJ came up with an idea for a traveling roadshow called the Tolerance Trio, essentially a priest, a minister, and a rabbi. Definitely the beginning of a joke. They would travel the country, rent out halls, talk about stereotypes of Jews being overly interested in money. When have we heard that before? Catholics wanted to overturn democracy, says Kevin Schultz, professor of history and religious studies at University of Illinois, Chicago. They would make jokes. It was entertainment. People would learn how false these stereotypes were, and they would preach tolerance. Those traveling tolerance trios were a novelty for those Americans who'd ever seen a rabbi or a priest in person, let alone three clergymen on one stage joking around with each other. So, Tom Lehrer, let's see, by 1936, Brotherhood Day was expanded to a week. FDR named as the first honorary chairman. He gave a national radio address on February 23rd to mark that day. We could, I guess, listen to a little bit of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the great honor to present the President of the United States. General Dawes, my friends, I am happy to speak to you from my home on the evening of a Sabbath day, which has been observed in so many of your home communities as Brotherhood Day. The National Conference of Jews and Christians has set aside a day on which we can meet, not primarily as Protestants or Catholics or Jews, but as believing Americans. A day on which we can dedicate ourselves not to the things which divide, but to the things which unite us.
And of course, we all know how well that went, which is one of the reasons why Tom Lehrer created his song, which is National Brotherhood Week. And hold on, let's see. Do I have that here? No. Let's just go ahead and bring this up here, because I don't, even though his music is in the public domain, like his lyrics are and his the songs are, but the problem is that I still don't think you could play his music, the actual ones that were recorded, because that would still be owned by the publishers of said music. So instead of actually playing his song originally, I'm just going to go ahead and sing the version of the song as he would have sung it. And then we're going to, what I was thinking of doing is giving y'all the opportunity as listeners of Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right, to vote on I have a couple of options that I have so far that I haven't really settled on. And maybe, maybe we'll choose one by today or not. I don't know. We'll see what y'all think by a couple of them that I've put together. I figured, get y'all a little bit involved in it. Anyway, so the original song, the original lyrics were different than what I have in my little reimagining of, and you'll see why in a second. So I don't have a piano, so I wouldn't know how to play it regardless, even if I did. I only know like one or two songs. But if you haven't heard National Brotherhood Week, it starts off, oh, the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks. To hate all but the right folks is an old established rule, but during National Brotherhood Week, Lena Horne and Sheriff Clark are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize the people you despise as long as you don't let them in your school. Oh, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All of my folks hate all of your folks. It's American as apple pie. But during National Brotherhood Week, New Yorkers love the Puerto Ricans 'cause it's very chic. Step up and shake the hand of someone you can't stand. You can tolerate him if you try. Oh, the Protestants hate the Catholics, and the Catholics hate the Protestants, and the Hindus hate the Muslims, and everybody hates the Jews. But during National Brotherhood Week, it's national, everyone smile at one another. Hood Week, be nice to people who are inferior to you. It's only for a week, so have no fear. Be grateful that it doesn't last all year. Anyways, that's my rendition of Tom Lehrer's original song. Although, of course, thinking nowadays, I'm not sure how many people, I mean, most of y'all probably do still, but I'm not sure how many people would get the Lena Horne and Sheriff Clark are dancing cheek to cheek line. So I went ahead and made, changed those lyrics to people who are new. So, let's see, did the South Park guys learn from that song? I'm sure there are a lot of people, Alyosha, who learned from that song and learned from many Tom Lehrer lyrics. I mean, I think Weird Al lists Tom Lehrer as one of his things. Speaking of Weird Al, I'm not going to have a show tomorrow for the nerdydan.com stream, at least not till late, because I'm going to go see Weird Al in concert tomorrow night. So, anyway, so I do have a couple of reasons. See, Joseph, when all the hosts are singing lately. Anyway, so, wait, somebody says the Catholic song he did was hilarious. The Vatican Rag, right? Is that the one you're talking about? Of course, I already reimagined that one as the Vatican Rap. If you haven't heard that, we'll probably play that later. But there's a couple of different versions that I have of a National Brotherhood Week as a reimagined form, and the first one I want to introduce to y'all or get y'all opinions on is the one that I did in reggae.
Oh, the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks to hate all. But the right folks is an old established rule. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, AOC and Donald Trump are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize the people you despise, as long as you don't let them in your school. Oh, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All of my folks hate all of your folks. It's American as apple pie. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, New Yorkers love the Puerto Ricans 'cause it's very chic. Step up and shake the hand of someone you can't stand. You can tolerate him if you try. Oh, the Protestants hate the Catholics, and the Catholics hate the Protestants. Hindus hate the Muslims, and everybody hates the Jews. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, it's national. Everyone smile at one another. But be nice to people who are inferior to you. It's only for a week, so have no fear. Be grateful that it doesn't last all year.
Hey, man, how'd you like that reggae version of National Brotherhood Week, man? But that's one of the several ones. I might play a couple of them. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how you. If there is one that really stands out as a favorite, there you go. This first one that I made is like an energetic type of rock song. I don't really hear how I did it, but I actually used it using a singer that I hate. So we'll see how this one sounds to y'all for a second. There is a couple of like rock versions or whatever, but we'll see. We'll play one or two more and see what y'all think about it. This one was kind of inspired supposedly by Bryan Adams. right, so that's a little taste of that one. We won't play the whole one because basically you get the gist of the whole thing. We'll play a little sample, a little tidbit of a few others that I created and see which ones y'all like the most. So the first one was reggae. The second one was kind of Bryan Adams-ish. I forget what this one was the... I think this one I just put in like words like energetic and rock or whatever. Oh yeah, this is supposed to be Queen, I think.
Oh, the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks. To hate all but the right folks is an old established rule. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, AOC on Donald Trump are dancing cheek to cheek.
So that's one of the problems with AI, that I'm sure it's not going to take over the world yet, because sometimes it can't pronounce simple words like and. Yeah, there's another happy rock one. We'll listen to 3 more little clips or whatever, and then maybe I'll put a poll up on YouTube. We'll see.
All the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks. To hate all but the right folks is an old established rule. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, AOC and Donald Trump are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize the people you despise, as long as you don't let them in your school. Oh, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All of my folks hate all of your folks. It's American as apple pie. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, New Yorkers love the Puerto Ricans 'cause it's very chic. Step up and shake the hand of someone you can't stand. You can tolerate him if you try.
This is actually one of my more favorite ones of the group of ones that I created. Kind of sounds like American Pie-ish, which is funny because one of the lyrics is "It's America's apple pie." So let's see. There's 2 more. Let's play this one. It's kind of like folky, rock, energetic, or whatever. I just was playing around with it just to see how it sounds.
All the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks. To hate all but the right folks is an old established rule. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, AOC and Donald Trump are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize the people you despise, as long as you don't let them in your school. Oh, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All of my folks hate all of your folks. It's American as apple pie. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, New Yorkers love the...
Yeah, see, that one's not that great. So let's just do the... I guess there's these last 2. We'll see. I haven't even had the opportunity to listen to either of these 2. These 2 might suck even worse.
Oh, the white folks hate the black folks, and the black folks hate the white folks. To hate all but the right folks is an old established rule. But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, AOC and Donald Trump are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize the people you despise, as long as you don't let them in your school. No, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All of my folks hate all of your folks, it's American as apple pie.
Anyway, so those are the options. I went ahead and started a poll over on which one do you like the most. Basically, I put the last one, Bryan Adams 80s, American Pie 90s, and reggae. Reggae is currently in the lead. If you have an opinion that differs from that, head on over to the live YouTube chat over at liberaldanradio.com, and you can cast your vote if you're watching this afterwards. Then the poll's probably done, and I've probably already made up my mind. But anyway, those are the options that we had to make this song. I have to post a couple others that I created as well on top of this, simply because I think I only have 3 on the playlist right now, but I've created like 6 at least, if not more. So anyway, Tom Lehrer, again, has passed away. I highly recommend you go both listen to his versions of the songs, especially if you want to see how my reimagining actually reimagined them. Most of his songs still hold up, even though some of them you might have to have a little bit of knowledge about previous political history and stuff like that. Anyway, but you know, he's somebody. He was, I mean, person like he loves satire, just like me. He was born Jewish, not really practicing and later in life, kind of like me. But despite the fact that he hasn't practiced, his memory will be a blessing to many people who knew and loved him, loved his talent, loved everything else. So, you know, cheers, l'chaim, whatever you want to say, however you want to toast the life accomplishments and everything of Mr. Tom Lehrer. Anyway, so there's that. Right, Josh? I mean, it is a tough call between reggae and American Pie. I mean, some of this stuff, I think Suzanne said, I think was it Suzanne or Roxanne who said that, like my original intro theme or whatever. I'm guessing you're talking about the Liberal Dan theme song, that one. Anyway, that one's not going away. Like these aren't replacing what I already have up there. We still have the Liberal Dan theme song. We still have the parody song I'll throw in every once in a while. We still have the Baby Incubator song, all of the Liberal Dan Radio originals type music. However, we also have these reimaginings that I just started doing it simply because of the fact that I thought it would be a fun way to play with AI. It'll be a fun way to do something with, you know, songs that were out there but have been specifically released into the public domain, so we could actually have fun with it. And you know, maybe just maybe some of these, you know, one of these songs might hit and be like, hey, you know, this is actually pretty good. Let's get some more people. Let's subscribe to this channel, see what else this guy is about. Trying to think outside the box because, you know, how else am I going to get to 3,000 subs and beyond without thinking outside the box, right? Back with living. Grinder is dead tonight. Where are my tops at?
Oh my.
Oh my, indeed. Big Hook. Sorry, I'm multitasking. I'm sort of dizzy. I feel you, bruh. Yes, Aaron. Oh my. I think before I got the oh my out. I guess one of the other things that I've been frustrated about is that, like, so I told you all the stuff about the pool. I still have to actually go pay for the pool getting a fix, which sucks because, again, it's money that I need to spend so I don't have a rotting cesspool of, you know, algae and everything that'll grow mosquitoes in the backyard. But so we had to replace the filter, the sand filter, after we replaced the motor that wasn't working for the pump. So what happened was, you know, I haven't gotten this pool clear yet. It wasn't clear at all last year, and they were probably like, well, it's probably because you need new sand. So I was going to replace the sand this year, but then the motor got funky. So we replaced the motor. We shocked it a whole bunch of times to try and get it swimmable so I could get in there and get all the big stuff, and then got in there and got the little stuff. And we were sitting there trying to vacuum, and we've gotten up a lot of additional stuff that I didn't even think was down at the bottom of the pool. But we got that done, and it still won't fucking get clear. And so far, and by the time I get it fixed, I won't be able to go swimming in it. Because after the August 14th, which is when my leg surgery is, my knee surgery is, I can't submerge myself in water. So I have to get this fixed before then, but I have no idea. Even like, to me, it almost seems like the sand in the filter wasn't replaced properly. That's what this feels like. It feels like the sand was not replaced properly in the filter. But I don't know how to check that. I don't know how to determine that. I don't know how to even figure that out. I don't know even how to bring up that concern to the pool people, because again, how do we prove it? How do I prove it? Other than the fact that I say, well, on the day that the guy showed up, he was the idiot in the middle of the street who just was stopped and wouldn't even move. So my wife had to honk at him because he was being, like, ridiculous and just blocking everybody in the middle of the street and not moving out the way. And then it turns out that's the guy that's coming to our house to replace the sand in our filter. And guess what? He never called ahead of time to verify that we would be home so that he could install the sand in the filter. What kind of dumbass does that? Well, the same type of dumbass who actually installed the motor, because they did the same thing too. We got lucky both times, because in both times we pulled up right behind the people who were coming to do the work. But what the ever-loving crap, we're two working-aged humans. Normally we'd be in an office. We just both happen to work from home, so thankfully. But holy crap, who shows up to do work at a house without calling beforehand and verifying that someone's going to be freaking home? It's crazy. So, but yeah, that's another thing that's just frustrating me, because at some point I'm going to have to go out, probably at some point tomorrow, I'm going to have to go out, I'm bringing the water and be like, look, this is not getting clear, and I fear that it's because of the fact that, I'm concerned that the person didn't do it right, but I have no idea how to prove whether or not he did it right, because I don't know how to check. It's like they have me bent over a frickin' barrel. So currently poll results, at least. Reggae at 50%, American Pie at 25%, the last one at 19%, Bryan Adams at 6%. Makes me feel better that the Bryan Adams one's at 6%. Jolie, did you vote for the Bryan Adams one? Would not be surprised if you did. Anyway. Kevin's in the chat. Good to see you, Kevin. Said Josh, my buddy got a new filter system for his pool and promptly broke a fitting. He said, F it, do it next year. I mean, I feel that, but yeah, I'm not very happy about the pool stuff, and there's other stuff I'm also not very happy about that I'm not going to put people on blast on the show. But anyway, we'll see how that runs out. Will reggae win? I don't know. Will y'all deciding reggae is the best option, and that, it's very well possible. Still might go with the American Pie kind of version, but I'm glad to hear that at least both y'all seem to be on the same page with me of that those were the top two. Anyway, so somebody had brought up the the Vatican rag version that Tom Lehrer did about get in line in that processional, step into that small confessional. They're the guy who's got religion'll tell you if your sin's original. If it is, try playing it safer. Drink the wine and chew the wafer. 2, 4, 6, 8. Time to transubstantiate. So anyway, that's the Vatican rag and how that went. And I was trying to figure out how to make the Vatican rag more popular in a modern song form, as he would have said, as Tom would have said, or whatever. So we're going to take a small drink break whilst I play the Vatican rap.
First you get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect, and genuflect, 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 genuflect. Do whatever steps you want if you have cleared them with the pontiff. Everybody say his own. Huey, hey, Aleason, doing the Vatican rap. Get in line in that processional, step into that small confessional. They're the guy who's got religion'll
Tell you if your sin's original. If it is, try playing it safer. Drink the wine and chew the wafer. 2, 4, 6, 8. Time to transubstantiate. So get down upon your knees. Fiddle with your rosaries. Bow your head with great respect. Genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Make a cross on your abdomen. We're in a row, do like a Roman. Ave Maria, damn, it's good to see ya. Getting ecstatic and sorta dramatic, and doing the Vatican rap.
Anyway, that's the Vatican rap. Josh says this works. It's amazing how some of this stuff actually does work reimagined, which is why I'm having such a good time with it. So I'm sorry for those of y'all who might not be interested in the Tom Lehrer stuff. It's just, you know, it's keeping me happy. So VD Hurt says, you know what rocker I forgot about but was in the news recently? John Waite. I like his tunes. What was John Waite in the news for? That's interesting. Let's see. Interesting story about John Waite. I saw, it was one time I went to go see Journey, but it was post Steve, well, not Steve Augury. I think it was with Steve Augury. I think that was the singer at the time when I saw them in concert with Peter Frampton and John Waite. And let's see. 2 days ago, popular 80s rock singer pulled over in Kiowa County on the way to concert. Nice. He was late to his own gig, and he and his band got pulled over on the way to a Kansas concert. Hilarious. And then it turned into a photo shoot. I guess they wanted to see him smile. Anyway. But speaking of that song, so I went to go see John Waite, who was in concert with whatever, and they start playing, like, you know, all of his songs. Or he starts playing his songs, and it's, you know, all songs that I knew. And then they start playing When I See You Smile. And I was like, I thought that was bad English. I was like, I guess John Waite was in bad English because it sounds exactly like it. So you learn something new every day, right? Let's see, what's going on? Other health stuff in the chat. Let's see. Susie Jones says, I'm on 2 different antibiotics for cellulitis in my feet and calves. I don't know why, other than neuropathy might have been a factor. Ugh. I had a weird, like, cramping in my foot the other night. It was miserable. Hopefully that doesn't happen when I have my knee surgery. But yeah. Joseph Winnie says, I had 9-level spinal fusion surgery 14 months ago. I feel great. X-ray is scary. I can imagine. The whole thing Jesus. Say, Josh, one of my buddies had a rockabilly band that covered Metallica in their genre. It worked so good. Nice. One of the funny things, Alan, back again, Dan, want to help me kick some Entergy CEOs in the ass? Abso-fucking-lutely. I mean, Entergy definitely needs a big whooping across the board because they're ridiculous. To anybody who doesn't know, Entergy is the energy company that covers most of New Orleans metropolitan area. So... See, wait, foot pain. You can borrow a cane to poke them with instead. I have a few. You have a few feet or a few canes? I actually also have a few canes as well, but I had to basically sit up and just kind of push my foot on the ground, and that kind of helped. But yeah. Oh, who else is having? Someone else is saying that they're having knee surgery as well. Hello, my fellow knee hurting brother from another horrible need mother, I guess. So yes to both. All right. Well, when's your surgery? When's your procedure? We could be laid up together, you know, at least, at least hypothetically speaking or whatever, getting a knee replacement. Yeah, I'm getting 2 knee replacements. I'm getting the left knee replaced on the 14th, and then I'm getting my right knee replaced as soon as I can after my left knee gets replaced. So I thought it would be like let's see, 90 days afterwards, but supposedly the person who I went to go see today, who took the CT scan of my knee to get a valid measurement of how big they need to manufacture, I guess, my custom-made knee. So they say that it could be like within 2 weeks, walking, whatever, within 4 weeks, driving yourself, wherever. So we'll see how that goes. So yours is the 3rd week of September. Well, you'll definitely know how mine goes before you have yours. So yes, thank you, Suzanne. Please smash the like button. Josh says I'm increasingly afraid of healthcare. I mean, why wouldn't we? I mean, this is a for-profit crap that's going on. All of this BS that goes on with health insurance, putting people at risk, people dying unnecessarily, etc. Let's see. Make sure you get enough vitamin C. When I stopped drinking milk for a while, took vitamin C, my restless legs thing went away. See, that's the thing. I take vitamin C a lot, but I thought I had restless legs, and I don't know. Maybe it was from something else, but we'll see. Anyway, it's just so crazy with everything that's going on with all the planning. Like I'm getting calls from like people to deal with pre-surgery, to deal with post-surgery, scan here, scan there. Like for some reason, they wanted to schedule 2 sets of scans on the same day. They wanted the first scan to be, it's something that the one who's doing my colonoscopy, something that he wanted to have done. And then the one who handled my kidney stone removal wanted to do another, ultrasound of, my kidney or whatever. I don't know. And before one of them, I have to fast all night. And before the other one, I have to drink like 32 ounces of water 32 minutes or 30 minutes before the scan. So I'm like, well, they were like, well, do you want to do it on the same day? I'm like, no, I don't want to do it on the same day. What the hell sense does that make? Because I have to fast for the one and then I have to drink for the other. I'd rather not have to sit there and tiptoe and try to, do everything to the exact second that it needs to be done. So we're doing those on different dates. So that's a 3rd scan. That's 2 other scans that have been getting done. The one of them, I had done today. But it's like everyone's like calling me, and then they call me for schedule my first physical therapy appointment. And of course, my first physical therapy appointment can't be at the same time that my wife is having her physical therapy appointment. So most likely we'll have to take 2 different cars, even though we're both going to the same freaking spot. Yeah. So hopefully after this initial physical therapy appointment, I will be able to schedule a time to make sure that I am seeing my therapist at the same time that she's seeing her therapist. And we'll go from there. But yeah, because you don't want to waste gas, right, in this economy. Roxanne, I may be looking at, no pun intended, eye surgery in September. It's a good pun regardless. So yeah, and I actually bought bananas at the store the other day. Thankfully they were freaking cheap, because the bananas already seem like they're already going. Like, it seems like Costco can't seem to keep bananas like well kept. Like, these are like green on the top, but they were browning already. Like, one of them had brown on the inside. I had to like throw a whole one away today. I'm glad the bananas only cost like $1 or like $1.50 for 3 pounds of bananas, because otherwise it would just been like anyway. See, Michael Madrid, 3 stents in my legs, vitamin C, 4 stents in my heart, and blood thinners. Now I can walk on my restless legs and cramps away. I probably should have done more Quaaludes. Man, Ludes, man. Fucking Ludes, man. Quote Dennis Leary. Anyway, so... but yeah, don't talk about stents. Thank you, Chad, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you. One of my most generous gifters. Appreciate you for that. See, I buy a banana in the morning. The green go to work. They're brown. I completely forgot that I'd bought a thing of bananas before we went away on vacation, and they were just completely black by the time we got back. So, I try not to buy ripe bananas. I try to buy them when they were green, but they had none available that were green. They were just like piles of bananas just waiting to be, I guess, liquidated. I don't know, but I don't know. OJ and oranges are soaring too. More results of the tariffs. That's the thing I don't get with like the whole Trump's moving to the whole sugar thing. We've talked about this before as well, but his wanting to get cane sugar in the Coke or whatever. I'm just like, that's just going to make demand for cane sugar more, which is going to make all products made with cane sugar more expensive. What are you doing? Anyway, so pickle juice is a lifesaver for me. It stops my legs cramps within 1 minute. Also, and I had to also make a Walmart order today simply because of the fact that I needed to make sure that I had bouillon. Like, they want me to have drink a whole bunch of liquid and have no real solid foods. The only thing I could have food-wise are like Italian ices and Jell-O and beef bouillon or beef broth, chicken bouillon, chicken broth, or whatever. So and they want you to drink as much of it as possible, as much different types of liquids as possible, I guess, to help clear everything out. I don't know why having different colors. I just can't have blue, red, or purple. Can't have those for the colonoscopy, but I think I can only have, for some reason they don't want blue or purple on the colonoscopy, but you can have blue and purple for the knee. I don't know. Anyway. See, Florida citrus production down 90% from its peak. Land development and crop disease did that. So USA's #1 source for orange, domestic, California, and import from high tariff Brazil now. Makes sense. Of course, Florida's too busy building concentration camps. Then they're worrying about their oranges, because I guess the #1 export from Florida right now at this point is hate, and that's pretty much it. So, all right. I haven't even opened that up yet. Hopefully my changing of my settings is not going to mess around with this too much, but we are going to open up the phone lines. 562-LIBDAN1, 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542. 3261 is the number to call in if you would like to call, rant about your own crap, everything else you want to talk about. Open line, anything's fair game. I'd love to have a conservative call in and pick a fight with me today, because today's not the day, y'all. Today's not the day where I hold back. So maybe that other dude that was calling in that one time that was insisting that I would not take a conservative phone call, that would have cut them off, I would not have give them the opportunity to say whatever. Today might be one of those days where that actually might be true. But still, I can try and be on my best behavior if you as a conservative want to call in. 562-LIBDAN1, 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542-3261. But yeah. So Jolie's response to Chad, just Chad. Let's see. Said in the past, Florida is where old people go to die, middle-aged people go to feel young, and young people go to snort the ashes of the old people, hoping some meds made it through the cremation. God damn. Jonah Joseph, I could role play, Dan. Oh, Jolie, you were just saying that you wanted Chad to call in. I don't know. See, I really want to die hard. I'm not looking for a Joseph Gibson or anything, but I'm looking for, I want some new blood to call in, new conservatives to call in and test me, because that's how we do better. That's how we make ourselves better, is by testing our ability to debate and discuss the issues with others. So I just found out my cat mechanic, like the mechanic for your cat, i.e. your farm equipment or whatever, or like your veterinarian for your cat. But just found out the cat mechanic has a place in the Villages today. That definitely deserves an
oh my.
Because if you know, you know. Oh, car. Okay. I mean, it could be a cute way to say veterinarian to have a cat mechanic, but dude, you're asking for a fight with an unarmed opponent. Well, I mean, what better way to kick a man than when he's down, right? Let's see. For a couple years, I could not drink milk without getting leg cramps. Now, since I drink orange juice every day and blood thinners, I can drink milk again. I was low on vitamin C, and it almost killed me. Wow, interesting. I'll throw a little chum. Well, we've had a budget surplus last month because of tariffs. Yes, but who paid for the budget surplus? Who is responsible for that budget surplus? What caused it? It's the fact that the American taxpayers are paying those tariffs. So the budget surplus to help Donald Trump look better is hurting the American taxpayers, who now have to pay more in taxes to deal with, the increased tariffs. So no, the companies don't pay the tariffs. Not in many of the cases. The companies will push off as much as they can onto the consumers. Now, are there price elasticity of demand concerns to consider, that if something has alternative type of product that could be used, and would the companies then have to eat more of the price increase that's coming from the tariffs? Sure, absolutely. Because people who discuss these issues, unfortunately today, make it overly simplified and don't understand what concepts like the price elasticity of demand is, or whatever. But no, we wait, Susie, some of the golf carts are made by Caterpillar. Nice, interesting. But personally, I feel we have a chat surplus. Okay. Where's Joe by Dawn? Joe is relaxing because he can. So, anyway. What was I going to talk about? Crickets? See, Big Hook asked, anybody else want to poke at Dan? I mean, just don't do it in the middle of the street while I'm unawares, because that actually happened to me one time. I was walking down the street from my work to go find some place to eat. I was walking by myself, and all of a sudden this woman comes up, and all of a sudden I feel something like jab into my stomach in the middle of the street, and I had no fucking clue what was going on. And I didn't even know it was a woman doing it. I had no idea. But by the time I turned around, she actually made the stupid Pillsbury Doughboy sound, which, thinking back of it, might make some people chuckle. But yeah, it would have been funny if I would have done what I wanted to do. What I was intending on doing is turning around and just laying her the fuck out, because A, I didn't know it was a woman. B, I had no idea who it was. All I know is that something random was poking me in my stomach from a stranger that I had no idea, and was I getting stabbed or not. So fortunately for her ass, I realized what was going on before I made a full-on swing, before I actually made contact or whatever. It's just Michael Hunt is me, but if you pronounce it correctly, if you pronounce it the way you're supposed to pronounce it, that's very interesting way to think about things. Anyway, but yeah, the Epstein client list is that's the thing. Like, people who are still backing Donald Trump, like, what's it going to take? What is it going to take for y'all to be like, oh, he's protecting pedophiles. He's, by not releasing the list, he's making things harder on the American taxpayers by making them have to pay more money. Let's just do a little search from that. The U.S. government experienced a rare budget surplus in June, largely attributed to increase in revenue from tariffs imposed by Trump. Specifically, customs duty surge, reaching a record $27 billion, contributing significantly to the surplus. The surplus has reinforced the Trump administration's view that tariffs are a successful revenue source and a tool for achieving policy goals. But then again, we're going to have to compare what the amount of money that was brought in versus the amount of increase in cost in goods and services that were created because of that. And that's the only real way to have a good look, is to see whether or not this is a successful policy, or if he's just trying to pull the wool over your eyes because you're thinking, oh, there's a surplus, that must be good. Now, why can't I afford as much stuff as I used to, right? Quick, get the name Harold Beaver. There was somebody who was a patient in a hospital whose name was Harold Dick when I used to work at the hospital, like passing around pathology reports across the thing, and I was like, who the hell would name your child Harold if your last name's Dick? Just don't. Of course, I knew somebody whose last name was Glover and his name was Richard, and you really didn't want to call him Dick either, because then that made him sound like something he wasn't, or something that maybe Impeccable Living is.
Oh my.
Anyway. Not just anything wrong with that, but I see you, Mike. I see that you're going out of the way. I'm just, trying to respond to everything and look up some things as well. We bent the EU over in a trade framework. France and others are pissed at the EU. Of course they're pissed at the EU, because they caved. Because people are caving to Donald Trump, and it's making him think that he can continue to do what he's doing, which is harmful to the rest of the frickin' planet. So... Oh, sorry. You can go ahead and call in now, Big Hook. That's my bad. I didn't turn off the do not disturb. That's my bad. So it's ready now. It's ready for you. You can call in if you want. So isn't Dick Bong the top U.S. ace? I don't know. Dick Trickle was a race car driver for a while. I mean, why? Let's see. All the tariffs are higher versus the EU than before Trump. Prices are going up, up, up. That should be like a song, like going up, 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 do 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 do, going up, 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 do 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 do. Oh, we got a call, but it's. I don't think this is Big Hook. Oh, we got Mike. We got Chad. There you go, Chad. What's going on, man? Hello? Can you hear me? Crap. Hold on. Let's see. Audio settings. We're going to decline Big Hook for a second. Microphone, headphones. I don't know. Are you hearing me? See. Speakers, headphones, ringing headphones. I heard the ringing. Microphone, Live Gamer 2 Plus. Yeah, it should be working fine, but... Alright, try again, Big Hook, because I don't know. I don't know.
First off, hey,
Wait,
little Dan.
there we go.
I gotta correct you on something.
Alright. What's going on?
Not much. I gotta correct you. There's no such thing as concentration camps in the USA.
Sure there are.
All fear mongering that the Democratic Party has, and racism and hypocrites. It's all garbage.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Can you not hear me on here? Can you still not hear me, or are you having to hear me through whatever? I don't know what's going on. Let me.
Damn it! I can't hear you.
Something's going on with my laptop. I don't know what's going on. Let me see what is going on here. Output.
You there?
Call from.
Big Hook.
To accept, press 1.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Call from.
Big Hook. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? I'm not hearing anything back on my end. I'm not sure if you can hear me on your end. I got 2 rings and then to this.
Can you hear me now? I guess you could probably hear me now on this mic, but it's not as good. I don't know what's going on with my microphone at this point. I don't know what's going on with everything that is going on. I tried frickin' doing this correctly, but it's not working, so I had to switch over to the webcam microphone, which is probably not the best sounding, but at least you could still hear me. But that shouldn't. I shouldn't be able to. For some reason, it's not registering the fact that I have the podcast mic. I don't know what the heck is going on. Why it won't let me do it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's try this one more time. Yeah. Can you hear me now on this one again? It's not necessarily the mic jack that's the issue, because it's a USB connected microphone. But I think this is fine for some reason. Let's see. Default microphone, headphones. Let's switch back to here. Maybe I think you can hear it now. Let's see. We'll try the phone line one last time. We'll see if that works. Hold on, before we do that, all right, turn off Do Not Disturb again. Turn on the call-in thing, turn that one off again. So, there we go. Now the frickin' thing is working, but my image is now frozen. What the hell is going on? Oh, it's because of that. I think it's because I unplugged the XSplit. Or use camera. There we go. There we go. Now we actually have an image as well. Holy crap. Anyway. I'm almost done with the show at this point tonight. Because, again, I told you I had a crap weekend and everything like that. But, Big Hook, you want to call in? Please call in. There you go. There's Big Hook. Accept. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, we have some success this time.
Yes. 15th time's a charm. Anyway, what's going on, man?
Okay. Well, I got to say, the U.S. seems to be on the line with 911 saying, sorry, the nation's on fire. You've got Christian crosses burning in your front yard, and you got a whole bunch of idiots out there threatening to do evil things. I don't know what the hell's going on in your country there, Dan. It's, every time I think to myself, it couldn't possibly get worse.
It gets worse.
It gets worse.
Yep.
They're getting so desperate now that, I heard the last one there where they boarded a ship and then took 10 Filipino sailors who had 10-year work visas in the U.S., and they weren't even on shore. They weren't even onshore in the U.S., and they went out and boarded a boat and then went out and grabbed them all up, put them all in handcuffs, and then deported them, and then gave them a 10-year ban.
Right. Because that's what this administration has been doing. Like, I was going through over the email chain that I had with Jeff on the morning show guy or whatever. And like I said, he's like, oh, all these people that are being put into these concentration camps, as I call them, not him, obviously, are people who are here illegally. Well, if they're here legally, and then you automatically change their status to make them not here legally, that's not what they did. It's what you did. It's what he did. It's what these assholes are doing. And like, I don't understand why. I mean, it just shows that the reason is bigotry, and these people see that as a feature and not a bug, because they want to be bigots. They're supporting bigots. They just, many of them still don't want to admit that they're bigots, even though you had that one guy, that Connor guy, who was on with Mehdi Hassan with that debate thing, who basically was like, I'm a fascist, absolutely. Like, and then a lot of other people, I think somebody told him to go back to his country when he's a citizen of the United States. Like, these people are like, just want this. They should have just been honest from the first day, and just call it "Make America White Again" and let that be the end of it, because that's all that they want to do, is they just want to make America white and not Jewish white, because I'm not white enough, because I'm Jewish.
Yeah, that debate thing was a real eye opener as to how bad things are, because if you've had your head in the sand, pretending that nothing is going on around you, boy, that just sort of proved you completely wrong. I mean, Mady did a wonderful job. He basically tore them a new one. Right. I mean, none of them made any sense whatsoever, but the racism was absolutely intense. I mean, there was that one blonde girl that was like, oh, yeah, and I don't think birthright citizenship should count anymore. And I have birthright citizenship, and my parents came over, and they were immigrants, but they got naturalized. Therefore, they shouldn't be collected and deported. But, and it came down to, she was basically coming out and saying, all the brown people should go, but all the white people should stay.
Right.
I mean, it just gets ridiculous now. They don't even realize that they're admitting what they are. The only thing missing at this point are the Klan hoods and robes. It's fully intense. And on top of that, the other thing is I mean, the people that they're hiring to be ICE now, they got no qualifications. There's no, you have to have a bachelor's in criminal justice or anything. No. They're like, all you have to do is be a U.S. citizen who wants to serve their country, and you have to have a gun permit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
That means any one of these racist yahoos can sign up and be an ICE agent.
Yep.
I mean...
Well, I'm sure. How many people who were pardoned from January 6th are now becoming ICE agents? Like, to me, that was going to be his own personal Gestapo right there, his own personal SS, if you will.
But the thing is that the courts are not working the way they need to, and and then on top of that, because the Supreme Court decided that, oh no, you can't have national injunctions anymore, that this stuff is going to take forever to litigate. But then, the upside to that is that it means that Trump is going to not have enough lawyers to be able to litigate any of this shit. And every court case that comes up, the judge is like, you're full of shit. Everything you just told me is a lie. You're exceeding your powers of the law, and you need to let these people go. And this is the problem. You guys are not a society of laws anymore. Anything flies now. Peaceful protests. You saw that incident there on the bridge there where the guy came over there and he chased the guy.
Hold on a second. Chad, you can't call in when someone else is on the phone. I turned off the thing. Just call when Big Hook's done. Anyway, go ahead, Big Hook.
Well, there was this guy there. They came onto the bridge there because they were doing a peaceful protest, and they said, and then said, the one lady walked in and said, "Oh, you're all going to be arrested," and this is like within 20 minutes of confronting them on the bridge, and then one guy goes and chases another, and he's got a gun in his hand, and there's no way to tell if it's a real gun or if it's a pepper ball gun, and he goes and he chases them, and the thing that they said was, if you don't want to be arrested, you need to get on the sidewalk. And people are trying to get on the sidewalk, and they're bloody well taking them and assaulting them.
Right.
You know? And it's like, and the one guy that was running away from the guy with the pepper ball gun, he grabbed him and put a chokehold on him, and then punched him in the head several times on camera. And guess what? No surprise, he's got excessive force violations on his record as well, you know. And like, I don't know. I really don't know, because if a law enforcement is now basically the KKK on steroids, I don't know where you go now. Because unless you're going to be, and I mean, it's a weird juxtaposition, because the thing is that you're supposed to yield to a federal authority because they're supposedly of higher ability, but the thing is that the federal authority are taking unlawful actions. They're operating without warrants.
Right.
They're racially profiling. You know, they're using excessive force. They got their faces covered. They don't have any identification, so that way you can single people out. I mean, this is just a powder keg waiting to explode. I don't know how far it's going to go. I mean, how do we protect these people? That's the question I have. I mean, you can lock arms, but then they'll say, "Oh, you're obstructing a federal officer. Oh, we'll arrest you too. And maybe you'll end up in alligator Alcatraz as well, and we'll deport your ass to a third world country that's currently at war." You know, I mean,
enough people are going to have to stand up and say no. But I mean, how hard? How are we going to get enough people to do that? I think that's probably one of the reasons why the people like the left side of the media, myself included, are trying to really talk very loudly about the Epstein files, because it's important to not just highlight the fact that Donald Trump is protecting pedophiles, but the main point that on top of that we need to get through some of these people's skulls is that if he lied about this and now he's calling that a hoax, then all the other things that he called hoaxes too, why are you still believing that? And hopefully it gets to some point where people are like, I've had enough. Some people are already there, but it's not enough. It's clearly not enough, because he still hasn't changed his tune. The people in Congress haven't changed their tune. The people in Congress need to fear that. The people in Congress need to be made to fear that if they do not go against Trump, that it's going to be losing for them. And instead of right now, which is they fear that if they go against Trump, there's a large enough portion of the base that's going to primary them and replace them with somebody else who will blindly follow like a frickin' lemming off the cliff. So,
well, yeah, that's just it though right now. And the thing is that every time you see a video now with these ICE guys, they come out with the guns right at the beginning, because they're just like, oh, it's like, and that's the thing. It's like Fallujah out there, They think that they're all road warriors and that they're going to do whatever, It's, the excessive force, the fact that they're not properly trained, the fact that they're not following any federal guidelines. I mean, this is just it. There is no transparency whatsoever. It's just basically disappear people and shit. And I mean, this is just it. I mean, as Politics Girl was saying, now that he's going to dismantle FEMA, what's going to happen? If you get struck by a natural disaster and you become homeless, guess what? He's going to send the same people that are doing ICE will probably be the same people that'll pick you up and decide that you're homeless and that you now belong to a facility, which is the same as the alligator Alcatraz, and they'll just say, oh, it's because you're an endangerment to the public because we consider you homeless and therefore you're mentally impaired. I mean, the bullshit just never ends with these people.
Right.
They go and they exploit tragedy. They take people at their, at some of the lowest points of their life, and then justify cruelty when compassion is what is necessary and required.
I don't think these people would know compassion if it bit him in the face.
Well, that's my problem too. These people are not human anymore. That's what the debate showed. It showed that these people are subhuman. They consider other human beings as threats to their own survival. It's a Darwin type survival of the fittest, or in this case, survival of the cruelest and the stupidest. Because I believe in this and I believe in that, and I can't tell you why I believe that, but it's just outrageous. These people say, oh, I read the Constitution. No, you didn't, because you obviously don't understand what it says. I mean, this is what happened. Reagan made it so that way they got rid of civics. People don't understand their rights. People don't understand anything anymore. And as a result, what ended up happening? The legal system collapsed. People are taking plea deals because there is no way to properly defend yourself, and you're just like, without going bankrupt, or better yet, hurting the rest of your extended family via trying to get a decent defense, so that way you can, not be falsely charged. I mean, this is the other thing. I mean, the cops basically decide that when they want to get you, they put you in this little box, and they start asking questions, and then they get upset when you know that they're trying to trick you, and you say, I refuse to answer any further questions without a lawyer present. I refuse a search of the vehicle or whatever, and they get all upset, and then they play the, oh, I think I smell alcohol or marijuana, and then they try and force you from the car, and then they'll try and play the, oh, well, he resisted arrest. I put him in handcuffs for my own safety.
Well,
and that's bullshit,
There's a person who's on TikTok who what is this? Something millennial or something like
that. There's a civil rights lawyer that does all that stuff.
Well, I'm talking about there's a guy who's a conservative who shockingly came out and criticized Trump about the whole thing about Epstein, which is shocking. I thought he would be one of the ones who would be a ride or die with Trump. But still, he was one of the ones who were saying, if you just comply when the police tell you to do something, you won't have a problem. Well, this guy done got tased, and he pissed himself in his pants simply because of the fact that, and it's on, and there's footage of this, and it's actually been disseminated across TikTok, where he resisted arrest and he got tased. So maybe somebody should have practiced what he preached. One quick thing though, before he says, let's see, there's was it Joe in the chat said something about the fact that they broke the law. It's not a belief. Who broke the law? There's a person in Lakeview who was here, who had permission to stay here from the U.S. government. She was following all the rules that she was supposed to follow, and they arrested her anyway. She was not violating the law. She was still picked up and detained. They let her out, but she's still under investigation. There's the individuals who, like we're talking about, the people who were on the ship, who were here legally, who had all their paperwork, and Trump administration says, no, we're going to revoke that. We're not going to accept it. Then we're going to ban them from coming back here for 10 years. There's the young girl who was not a citizen but was here legally, who was getting medical treatment, and the Trump administration said, no, we're going to cancel the order that allowed them to be here illegally so that we can then kick them out. That's not going after the worst of the worst. That's not going after the people who Donald Trump claimed were, rapists and murderers or what have you. These are people who are just doing their jobs, and people like Joe in the chat want to be like, oh, well, they're breaking the law. No, the people that are being the hairdresser or makeup artist, the gay guy who got sent over to the El Salvadorian prison. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't violate any laws, yet he still got deported. So the myth that the only people that are getting swept up here are criminals is just a bunch of being regurgitated by a bunch of brain-dead sycophants who have no fucking problem with what the hell this administration is doing and want to try and manipulate the facts of what's going on to try and still make him look better, even though nobody should be making a protector of pedophiles look better. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. This is like the plot from the Saw movies. You know, we're basically locked up, given a ridiculous situation where we either have to chew off our own arm or whatever to be able to escape, and or better yet, kill someone else to be able to survive. I mean, this is what they've done. They've created this dystopian fantasy that this is the way it is now. Everything is the road warrior. This is food is in scarce supply, and we run each other off the road, and I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We got here because we allowed this, and this is the thing. And now some of them are waking up and saying, "Oh my God, I had no idea that it would go this far. I thought we just put the fear of God in some of these people and they'd run away." And it's like, no, you are, and this is the other thing. I mean, he's going to spend what? Over a $250 billion to deport people who provide services as well as taxes, as well as food on people's tables, for what? And then on top of that, what's even worse is that the people that are benefiting from all this are the billionaires, because they're going, oh, we can build these things lickety-split, and we can give them crap food and crap sanitation services and everything else. And if you tell them that they can't enter and then make any inspections and see if humanitarian standards are being met, then we can kill them off silently, and eventually, all these people will just disappear. The problem will disappear eventually because, they'll die, or, we'll deport them and they'll die elsewhere, right, out of sight, out of mind.
Call back in a little bit because this person keeps calling in and I want to berate them.
Okay,
so
no
call
worries.
Back in a bit.
Call from
Michael Hunt.
To accept, press 1. To send a...
Didn't we say to not call in until Big Hook was done?
Well, he was just going to run his mouth all night.
Well, I
mean... to start off with, his opinion means jack and shit. Does he vote? No. And there's no such thing as concentration camps in the United States. Why do you fearmonger like that? So why do you go throw racism out? Why do you go and do all the things, the hypocrisy that you go and do? It's because you do it and you love it. And
no. I don't love hypocrisy. In fact, I call out hypocrisy all the live long day. All right. I guess he hung up. Oh, well. I mean, we could always have a solution to that question. Hold on, let's see. We're just gonna block because you don't want to listen, so you're blocked. Oh well, you don't get to call in anymore. Anyway, so there we go. But here's the thing: you don't think that there's a concentration camp going on in this country? You don't think that this doesn't meet the definition of the concentration camp? Well, let me tell you, the Holocaust Museum absolutely 100% does agree that this actually fits the definition of what a concentration camp is. Unfortunately, too many conservatives confuse the idea of concentration camp and death camps. The death camps were concentration camps. Not all concentration camps were death camps. As I said in that letter I read off, or in that email I read off to Jeff Cruer, host of Ringside Politics every morning, Monday through Friday or whatever, as I said to him, Dachau didn't start off as a death camp. Dachau didn't have a gas chamber in it for 9 years, and I don't even think it got used once it was put in there. Dachau started in 1933, and as 1933 was just was there to incarcerate, detain, what have you, enemies of the Republic, or enemies of the state, enemies of Adolf Hitler and his goons. That's what it started off as. So when we say that there's a concentration camp, we're not saying that they're killing millions of people yet. We just want to make sure that we're not getting there. We want to make sure that we are not at that point and that we don't ever get to that point. But people burying their goddamn heads in the sand and refusing to understand what happened in history and how these things move along, guess what? We're going to get there, because y'all will be like, well, we're not there yet. We don't want to get there in the first place. We don't want to get there at all. So you don't stop the 1940s Hitler, 1940s Nazis from happening by letting them get to the 1940s Nazis. You stop the 1940s Nazis from happening by stopping them when they're the 1930s Nazis. I don't understand why this is so much of a difficult idea for conservatives to fucking understand. But it drives me absolutely batshit crazy that they can't seem to get the... It's one of those things where it's like, how are y'all able to win elections? How are y'all able to collectively get together in large groups and get things accomplished when you can't even understand these simple things? You can't even understand, like, the fact that, the Republicans freed the slaves. Yes, and those Republicans would be Democrats today, and there's plenty of evidence otherwise. Oh, we have another caller, so let's see who this is, because it's not Big Hook. Well, it's Chad. Hey, Chad.
Hello.
I'm guessing so. That
How goes it?
Somebody it being a Michael Hunt imposter.
Hey, I am Michael Hunt, and Michael Hunt is me. So no, I started that a long time ago. I forget. I think actually it was in Trucker John's chat. Somebody accused me of being Mike Hunt. So every time Mike Hunt would come up and say something, I would just say, I am him.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was, yeah. It's
I
just
am
old
him,
running
and
joke.
he is me, and we are all
Yeah,
together.
yeah. We are they.
Anyway, what's going on?
Yeah. So, well, first off, I've talked to you in a while. Happy anniversary. We share July 7th anniversary.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry, 7/12. 7/12.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
So you're
Wait,
7/12. You're 7/7.
I'm 7/7/12, and
Right.
you're 7/7/15.
7. No, 7/7/7.
7. Oh, you've been married longer than me.
Yeah,
okay,
I got,
right on.
you know, my wife has had bad taste for a while now, but yeah. But we're as soon as we realized that that the 7/7/7 date was ready, we're like, we're getting married on 7/7/7.
Oh, I didn't even. Wow, I'm slow. That just clicked.
So,
I'm totally slow, bro. Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome, man. That is pretty awesome. No, I just thought I'd call in as a person who is, whatever you want to call it, claim to be independent, lean different times at different times in my life. I don't really have an agenda or a direction.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought we could talk. So
right.
I'll just kind of, is there anything you want to talk to me about or ask, or get in the mind of somebody who...
Just, I mean, you can respond to the things
supported.
I've just said about, the frustration that I'm having with conservatives and, the people who are refusing to, like, either not see that Donald Trump is worse than what they think he is, even though they agree that he's doing the wrong thing with the Epstein list, or why people just can't see that this deportation center in the Florida Everglades matches enough with the definition that the Holocaust Museum would call it a concentration camp, that what is it? Why can't we call it what it is? And is it just that people don't want to admit that they made a mistake? And if they admit that this is a concentration camp, that they're admitting that they made a mistake in their choice of vote, or what's going on?
Okay.
I really want to understand.
So yeah, my opinion. This is just my opinion. Okay, I can't speak for sycophants or there's just a guy talking to you, just a normal guy out here in the world. Honestly, taking it to the extreme and calling it something that it really isn't is the problem. But I think that I agree that it's much harsher than it should be. I don't think that it broaches it doesn't come up to, internment camps in my view.
So
but I do believe that it is much harsher than it should be as a facility. So I think your guys' attack lines on stuff like that, if you kind of back down a little bit to extreme and focused on the conditions without the adjectives, because adjectives give things away, and just focus on what it is for what it is and fight the battle that way, I think that you would have more of a leg to stand on, especially with people like myself who are swayable to go one side or the other. You know what I'm saying? We'll take a good argument, or we'll listen. We may not feel exactly the same way you do, which then also makes it hard to be kind of both sides-ish because, as soon as you're not on the roughly the same territory, they kind of makes it feel to them like you're not on their team. So, I mean, that's what I would kind of say about that. But I do agree. I won't subscribe. I'm not going to get on board with the internment camps or whatever you want to call it.
Well,
but
I was
it is
using
rougher than it should
concentration
be.
camp. I mean,
Or concentration.
Just because I'm going by the definition that's being used by the Holocaust Museum, and I don't think we should be arguing with the Holocaust Museum as to what a concentration camp is or is not.
Sure.
In order for it to be a concentration camp, you have to be sent there without due process.
Okay.
And of course, there are many people who don't believe that people who are being arrested as folks who are here in violation of our border policies and immigration laws, they are arguing that they don't get due process, but I don't understand how somebody who would claim to love the Constitution would be able to make that argument, because it seems pretty clear that every person every person within our borders gets the right of due process, because even if it's not for the people who are here in violation of our border policies, how do they prove that there's somebody in here without that's in violation of our border policies without actually proving it in court? Like,
I think extremes is the enemy right now. Okay, so what I would say to this, what you're saying is perfect is the enemy of good, right? The mindset of that. So I would simply respond to the extreme when I would be on your side. If them motherfuckers out there didn't have no air conditioning, that's whenever the shit is serious like that. You know what I mean? When it's actually a life or death, like they're making efforts, whether I agree on who they're souping up and taking out there and all these things. Structurally, from a facility, no due process would be, okay, we round them up in New York. We already have these buses staged. We're going to throw them on this bus, and we're just going to drive 3 days to the border, and we're going to just start plunking them off without even wasting resources in our own. They're putting them there so that they can have access to due process. Not only that, but those inmates they're allowed to make calls all throughout the day while in that alligator Alcatraz. So it's not like they're just being siloed. Now, whether I agree with how extreme or not, right? You feel me? But they're not completely. It's not good, but it's not the worst. It's not hell, doom and gloom, end of the world, right? But it's also not good. So if we want to make it better, I feel like the attack should actually be, we should remove some of the really heavy adjectives. You know what I mean? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
But like I don't know. Like, to me, that sounds like words that normally wouldn't come from, because I mean, I could buy it if the people who are on the right would also, tone down their rhetoric, so to speak. But they're not.
I wish, dude. That's going to be a fighting.
So
yeah.
Why? I guess that's one of the whole problems I have with politics in this country as a whole, is that Democrats and the left, because there are plenty on the left who are not Democrats. Democrats on the left side of the political spectrum are expected to be perfect. We expected to say things that won't hurt anybody's feelings, that won't, whatever. And if we do,
you're not. No, you're not. You just set those rules for yourselves.
No.
That's all. That's all that is. That's all it is, man. Like it's not. See, here's where Democrats will kind of take, okay, moral high grounds, right? We take the high road and all that, but until it serves a purpose, right? Like Michelle Obama coined that whole thing. I still respect Michelle Obama, but she almost lost it whenever she had made that comment about saying, okay, now we're going to not take the high road. Now it's time to not take the high road. And you know what? That's all fine and well, but you should have never came out in the first place and tout your moral superiority or the way that we should do things. But so it's always a good moral virtue to follow what should be done in the times whenever you're in power. But for instance, with Trump wanting to, or the conservatives, whoever you want to, the right, redistricting California. Well, now the Democrats come out and say, well, we'll do the same thing in these other two. We wouldn't normally do that, but because of this happening, we're going to do it too so that it's fair, but we're morally sound in doing it because we're doing it because somebody else is doing it, right? Like, we're only doing it because they're doing it and it's fair for us to do. Whereas 3 years ago, that morally would have been a horrible...
Let's roll back. But when Texas said they were going to do it in the first place, before Gavin Newsom was like, okay, we'll do it too if y'all do it, like, everyone's like, oh, that's just Republicans being Republicans, redrawing districts. That's what they do. We're not surprised. So we're not going to clutch our pearls over the whole thing. But then Gavin Newsom says, well, y'all do it. We're going to try and do it too. And then everyone starts clutching their pearls. Oh, that's terrible. But again, because conservatives are allowed to be shitty, and they're just...
But there's the thing, though. There's the crux of what I'm saying. There's the because, so, right, the justification becomes after the word because, which negates the moral high ground. There shouldn't be a because. There's just like, well, you know what? We got fucked again, but that's what happens whenever you live in the moral superiority. You get fucked a lot on your values. It's not like, oh, we're moral, and then all of a sudden you fuck us, and we're going to fuck you, but then 3 years from now, we're not the fuckers. You know, we don't do that. We only do that because. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. These are all my opinions and how I see it.
I normally don't hit people, but if somebody starts taking swings at me, I'm going to punch the fuck out of them until I'm either not able to fight or they're not able to fight or they choose to stop fighting.
You ever fought somebody in your life that didn't fight back and had the capability to fight back?
No, because I typically don't start fights with people, especially people
so
who have
sure.
ability to fight back.
I can tell you, right?
Is that when somebody, but again, I teach my kids, don't hit first. But
yes,
if somebody,
absolutely.
But if somebody
you should
hits
always
you,
defend yourself.
But you can always defend
absolutely.
yourself. That doesn't make it hypocrisy to defend yourself. That doesn't make it that if I could believe that gerrymandering is wrong, which I do.
You're good. I do like that. I mean, I think it's a false equivalency necessarily, but that is that's why I watch your show so much. You're clever and I enjoy it. That's a very clever take. Let me mill that in my head and see if I can find a counter example. But keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
To me, gerrymandering is bad. I wish we could end gerrymandering. I have a solution to end gerrymandering, because the reason you had congressional districts back in the day is because districts were big places, very hard to travel across. You had to get across them by horseback or whatever. You wouldn't be, we didn't have the communication abilities that we do nowadays. We don't need congressional districts now. We could cross a congressional district in a few hours, if not even that. Especially with some of these districts that you could just go across 3 blocks and cross 3 congressional districts because of how badly they gerrymandered. Point being that I can sit here until I'm blue in the face and say that gerrymandering sucks. I think it's terrible that both sides do it. I think it's terrible that all this. And the solution would be to have just slates of candidates, ignore boundaries, don't let the legislature choose their voters, let the voters choose their candidates themselves by electing slates of candidates. I think that would be a great proposition to do. I think we would probably need.
But
the problem is that
I agree.
If Texas is going to say, we want to make sure that Donald Trump has a Republican Congress in 2026, so in a non-normal year, we're going to redistrict so that we could give Donald Trump a few seat more advantage.
You know where where it stemmed from, though. They're only doing this because the Democrats brought a suit to claim discrimination to open the process up in the first place. So now, actually, the Republicans are giving the Democrats what they sued for.
Well, no, the Democrats and the ACLU in many states sued for the fact that the states were already terribly gerrymandered and that they needed to reopen.
No, I mean, in this case in particular, like a couple of years ago, I don't remember I won't be able to spit exact facts because I'm outside right now because my family's sleeping inside.
Sure.
I tend to get a little loud. No, absolutely. They had sued. I can't remember the details, but they had sued. The first thing that kicked all this off, I can't remember if it was Texas or California, I think it was California, the redistricting in California, and it was brought up because the Democrats had brought a lawsuit a couple of years ago.
But again, there wouldn't need to be a lawsuit if we eliminated the lines and did things as I've suggested as a slate of candidates. But the problem with that is that it takes away power from the politicians who want to be able to draw their districts and choose their voters. And so
let me tell you what the solution
Go ahead.
In my mind, the solution to to fix this, and it's not going to be exact. I don't think anything's going to be perfect. If you gave me the power, Mr. Chad Allen Bostic, in the middle of Southern Illinois right now, to make how it would be fair, state to state, give me a computer and you give me access to all the data. You allow me to see what people who are registered, whether they're registered Republicans or they're registered Democrats, whatever they are, and independents. I would split everything. I would gerrymander it to the point that it's fair, 50-50. Now, it's not going to be representative because you have people that don't vote. You have people that are registered as Democrats but aren't Democrats, people registered as Republicans that aren't Republicans. But as a quick, easy fix. But see, the problem is neither party would ever do something like that because you alluded to it. It's power. And power corrupts, and they're not going to give that up. So I think your solution is not horrible. I like mine better. It's mine, so I'm going to lean towards my opinion. But that's how I would do it. I would go through, and I wouldn't look at anything other than what are you registered as to vote, and I'd split it all fucking 50-50.
Right, but even,
however you have to
even
do that,
then, it's difficult. But my point is that at the end of the day, since we can't have your solution where lines are
well, and
drawn,
it doesn't take in cultural.
and
there's a lot of other factors
right.
too.
We
so
can't have
I'm just giving a very bare bones.
Right, but I'm saying we can't have either of our solutions or whatever. So I might disagree with gerrymandering. I might think I've been critical of Democrat gerrymandering. I mean, there's some districts. There's one in Chicago, I think, that's terrible. There's one in Maryland that's just
all dirty.
But
it's dirty on both sides.
But the Republicans have made it an art form, and then like you have times in states where they redraw the lines and they make it to the advantage, and Texas is even more hypocritical because I think Joe Barton was the district, the one that shouted out "you lie" or whatever. I think it was Joe Barton. Yes. I think it was a Texas congressperson, and his district. The only reason why he was in power is because they gerrymandered in like a whole bunch, like 20 to 30% of his district was not even citizens, like they were non-resident. They were non-citizen resident aliens or whatever. They weren't not here illegally.
Yeah, and that's bullshit. I mean, I'm as liberal as they come on that one. If that's what liberal means to be, saying that that's wrong. I think our.
But my point is that if the Republicans are going to do it and are going to do it so egregiously, to make it and specifically say, because even if it was from a lawsuit or not, the Republicans literally said, Abbott literally came out and was like, we're doing this to help save Donald Trump in the Congress or whatever. So if the Democrats do nothing and don't fight back, then that's even more of a problem.
Let me ask a question.
So
do you think if I was able to search right now?
Wait, what?
No, I agree. Let me ask this. If I was able to search right now, do you think that I would be able to Google a case in which Democrats came close to being as egregious as the case that you cited? Would it surprise or shock you, or
no? I mean, no. There are individual gerrymandering cases where the Democrats have absolutely drawn ridiculously stupid lines.
So what makes it that Republicans are just inherently worse at it than what a Democrat is? If they're comparably.
Because
qualitatively or quantitatively.
In order for the Democrats, the House of Representatives is supposed to be the House of the people, right? I mean, we agree on that. It's supposed to be the ones that everybody gets 2 in the Senate, but the House of Representatives
closest to our representation that Washington has as a diverse.
It should be, yes, but it's not because
right.
In order for a Democrat,
because of both sides,
in order for the Democrats to win win a majority in the House of Representatives, they have to get millions more votes than the Republican Party does. That's why I'm saying that the Republican Party does it worse than the Democrats. Worse, i.e., more egregiously, not ineptly. Because
I take your point. I do take your point, and that alludes to more of a larger, structurally hard question to answer, which it leads back to electoral how things are done numerically wise. And I'm going to go back to the same statement that I made earlier. Perfect is the enemy of good. And I think that we're getting the biggest dose on both sides. We get, I don't know, man. I don't know how to call it. Both sides are just so fucking hate each other so much. And we got to get away from this. It's going to take years to get away from Trump and all this shit and all these people and the Pelosi's. And, hopefully by the time my kids are fucking adults, all this dumb shit will pass, man, because honestly, it's ridiculous. And I get caught up in it, too. And I'm a pretty passive person, and I find myself saying some shit to people sometimes when I get my feelings hurt or whatever, when I'm just trying to have open conversations with folks. But
Well, there is the quote from Adlai Stevenson where
I
he
don't
says, "I'll stop telling lies, or I'll stop if the Republicans will stop telling lies about the Democrats, we'll start telling the truth about them." So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
do you? I mean, do I believe that it's solvable and fixable? I think there are many. I mean, there are examples of conservatives who I'm friends with who I, there are a few conservatives who, at the end of the day, I know them well enough that it's like, look, I understand that, we just have large differences of opinion, but I would still probably trust them with
I
my
understand
life.
you have the leprosy, but I think I've protected myself, sir.
but my point is that there is like a lot of bad blood. I mean, compare it to what's going on in Israel.
Yeah.
In Israel, like Israel and Palestinian people, there are people who just insist that the only solution is a one-state, solid, single solution where everybody has the right to vote, Palestinian, Israeli, whatever. And I'm like, there's far too much bad blood between the Israelis and the Palestinian people for them to ever even consider making a single-state solution. You have to solve the problems of the hatred.
You just gave me an epiphany.
Okay, go ahead.
Holy shit. Trump is the fucking early years of what's going on between Muslims and Christians. Trump has done that to the left and the right somehow. Hopefully it dies off in 10 fucking, now I'm all like doom and gloom on this. Hopefully it dies off for 10 years and it's not a 300 fucking year war because we get so caught up in our adjectives, man. If people would just change their adjectives and how they talk about things and take their lean out of it and just come from it from a position of intellectual honesty, I honestly believe most of this shit would work itself out, but fuck.
I wish I had your faith in humanity, that all it would take is me talking nicer to get the people supporting policies I find abhorrent to be.
Well, let me ask you, do you respond better to a person like me than you do Mike when he called in, the way that he's talking?
I mean,
is there a remarkable difference between him and myself? We both voted for the same dude. So there's plenty. In all honesty, Mike is the minority of folks who voted for Trump that talk and act like that. There's a vast majority of people that went out there and pulled the trigger because it's their civic responsibility, and they don't know nothing about politics, but they go and they vote.
Well, that's almost a lot of people say that everybody should get out and vote. But I mean, if you don't know anything about politics and you're voting, that's almost the same, to use the pull the trigger analogy, as knowing nothing about how to fire and care for
that's how we got fucking no shit, dude. That's how we got Biden in 2020. We sent out fucking ballots to all the idiots of the world, and that's what the fuck happened. I'm not saying he still wouldn't have won. Let's just say that he still won, but his margins would have been smaller. That large uptick, people want to say, oh, it's fucking this, that, and the other. No, what it was you mailing out all these emails to all the dumbasses of the world that ain't got the fucking to get up and go out and vote. I'm a T4 paraplegic, bro. I wheeled my fat ass down here to vote in the fucking rain when it rained. Now, I'm not saying that everybody, that you shouldn't be able to vote for home. I would like to vote for home, but I would still go and do it, even if I had the ability to vote for home. But I don't like to vote for home, man, because, and I'm not to be mean, and it's just all my opinions, my views. No, there's a lot of stupid fucking people. I'm only like 79 on the IQ level, so I'm really shouldn't be saying much, but these motherfuckers, you're right, they shouldn't be. They're uninformed, And uninformed is almost, I don't know which is worse, uninformed or misinformed. Really don't fucking know.
I think it depends on how the misinformation took place or whatever. Because if
it helps or hurts you.
no, not even that. I think if the misinformation.
No, I know. I'm just making a joke.
I know. If the misinformation is really adeptly done and the person is legitimately fooled by it, then sure, I'm not going to blame the individual for believing something that was told to them to be true. But other times people are just allow themselves to be manipulated because they don't even think about what's being told to them. Like a lot of times, there's many times on this podcast where I've been like, hey, why would people support this? It doesn't make sense to me, so then I have to ask it. It's like the whole when I and it happens, especially when I'm criticizing people on the left. Like, I'm still blown away by the people on the left-hand side of the political spectrum here in Louisiana who refuse to vote for a law that would require people to disclose whether or not they have a incurable STI. Like, to me, and nobody that I've spoken to who is like a non-politician person, people who are just regular everyday Joes who are on the left, no, I've found nobody on the left who are like non-elected officials or like activists who have said, "Oh, this makes total sense because and here's why." Only people that have told me on the left that the reason why they oppose that law are people who are elected officials who are trying to push this idea that if you make it criminal to not inform somebody of a known STI, that you're going to make it less likely that the people get tested. But I don't think these people are going to I don't think the people that would lie about being tested or who would lie about their situation or not disclose. I'm not sure how often they're getting tested anyway to begin with. But
it's like the gun argument, bro. There's always going to be nefarious actors out there. Perfect is the enemy of good. I don't know much about that, so I don't really want to speak to that. But you did something that piqued my interest earlier about my optimism. And as a guy rolling around in this world in a wheelchair, I appreciate that very much. I am a very optimistic person, and if you don't mind me asking you, do you enjoy devil advocacy, steel manning people's arguments, things of that nature? Are those things that you find enjoyable as a person?
I mean, sometimes I will I'll play devil's advocate just to, try to understand, what I might not agree with his, and I will watch people trying to make it, because it can be a good intellectual exercise to try and, it's one of the reasons why one of the reasons I don't hang up on people as normally as quickly as except for, the last caller.
Is chat wanting you to hang up on me? Is that what's going on? Because I can't see chat or nothing.
I haven't seen anything in
I figured
chat
they were
yet.
fucking roasting me, probably.
Joe was in the chat for a bit, and they really didn't like when I would have Joe on for a long time. But it's just, I think it's better when I can actually, if I can understand why you believe a way that you do, and if I can at least wrap my mind around that, then maybe I'll be able to find a better way to convince somebody that they're, in my opinion, making the wrong decision.
Perfect and wonderful. Let me ask you to do one thing over the next week, or just a couple of days even. Just keep the thought in your head. Try to think to yourself at least once a day over the next couple of days as a thought experiment. How could a liberal and a conservative be friends? And just mill it around. You might come to no answer. You may not think about it at all. But if you wouldn't mind, just the one favor as a guy out here in the world who enjoys your show, would you mind, taking 5 minutes of your time, 5 seconds of your time over the next few days and just thinking to yourself, try to maybe solve the problem that I currently am sort of working on as well? I could use the assist.
I mean, sure. I mean, I'll give it. I wrote it down in my notes, so I have it there to remind me every time I go look at it. But I'll
maybe we'll put 5% in your optimism tank or something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll bring that number up I'll take 2%. Honestly, that's a good return year over year right there.
Like I have to. I mean, basically, short of a 30,000 level view is like I'd have to be able to trust the person in some way.
There's a lot of stipulations.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I know.
in order for me to call somebody my friend, or even just I'd have to be able to trust
rules.
them.
Can't be a grandpa. It can't be a family member or your fucking godfather there's no cheating out of it to find like the one person in your life, like your stepdad. No, I mean, let's just random strangers.
Fortunately, most of my family, if not all of the family, are actually all pretty progressive left. I mean, I'm pretty.
Oh, good for you.
I'm pretty lucky when it comes to that. When it comes to there's usually never an argument.
I'm 50 fucking 50.
Yeah. So.
I love it, man. I personally love it. My family being 50-50, my friends, my whole life's like a 50-50. Fuck, I'm 50-50. I mean, I will make the joke about being half a person because people take that shit like I'm being self-deprecating humor, but I wasn't going to say I'm even half a man, ha ha ha, But
well, you're not John Wayne Bobbitt, so.
Yeah. And I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything really. Is there anything really pressing that you would want to ask the point of view? Anything else about all I guess the Epstein thing is an interesting thing. Do you want to pick my brain? Do you have some questions that you feel? I could provide an answer for.
Well, I mean, give us a 30,000 view of your feelings on
how I look at how I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the way I see it is that this Epstein thing happened, right? Now, and don't let me use, okay, let me premise this with, don't take my lack of time spent or the vocabulary or anything that I say as demeaning or taking away from. I'm just going to speak very bro-like whenever I speak this, so please don't, and for the people out there in the world listening to me. So the way I see it is, the Epstein shit went down, fucking awful, they should all be roasted. Somewhere along the campaign trail, and MAG is all a lot of conspiracy, so it piques them, right? Well, somewhere along the trail, Trump picked up on the fact that, part of his movement is peaked in this thing and blah, 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 and his involvement and being friends with the dude, knowing him, and all these things. So he made a couple mentions when being asked. He never went out and said the first time or these different things and made it a big deal. He was always responding, right? And so he responded several times and all this about the Epstein files, fine. So shit goes around, shit comes out. Not good. It's not a good rollout of what's going on. You have people that he put in who are hardcore, like Dan Bongino and these different folks, that Cash Patel, that are, advocated for these things for the MAGA crowd, and they expected certain things, and I think what has happened is there's this big fucking case, and the work has been done, mostly. Whoever out there is protecting the powers that be, there is a stink here. It is not a good thing. It's a fucking pedophile ring, and they should all be hung and killed, or however you feel, jailed, whatever. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care if you're Trump, Biden, Obama, me, my fucking dad, my grandpa. I don't give a fuck who you are. Hang them all. That being said,
I usually just say bury him under the prison, but yeah, I mean, agreed. Go ahead.
that too. Trump has stumbled into something that not only is he a part of, but he fed into, that he didn't expect to turn around and it to be fumbled the way that it's been fumbled on the rollout. It's not easy to just go and say you're going to release all this fucking information.
Right.
People's already gone through, they've already gone through it. This was already chalked up to a, hey, look, you had the conspiracy piece of it, and then the rest of the world knew, look, just powerful people getting away with powerful shit again, right? But I don't see, now I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm saying that if he is in there and, there's a video of him doing something, or, two witnesses come forward, however, if the evidence is good enough to say that he did, in fact, touch children or whatever, fucking hang him by his fat fucking neck. I don't give a fuck. That's disgusting and evil, and that's how most people in the world feel about it. Now, do I think that he actually did something with children? I honestly don't believe that. But again, I'm going to preface that with the word believe, so I can always be proven wrong. And if I'm proven wrong, I'll be standing right there with you, bro. We'll hang the motherfucker up by his big, ugly-ass fucking head. All right? We'll do it together. But I don't believe that's what it is, and I believe it's just being caught onto by what's going to happen is it's going to turn around and bite Democrats in the ass like these things always do. Maybe. I only say maybe because this is the only time that I've seen Trump disconnected with his base. He doesn't understand that his base is really salivating about this. He doesn't understand. He doesn't know it. Otherwise, he wouldn't. I don't know. That's the thing. If he does know it, then he's acting weird, right? So it is a very weird thing, but I actually am yucking it up to the fact that they overpromised and underdelivered, and they're all a little bit at fault for it. But it's not like, they say he went out and campaigned. He didn't. This was at the end of the campaign that somebody asked when it became was a topic or whatever. Fuck yeah, we'll release the list. Fucking elect me in. I'll lick your butthole. Whatever you're going to say.
Wait, hold on. That deserves
impeccable.
Yes, impeccable. Oh my, yes.
Yeah, that's how I see it. And if I'm wrong, I'll be right there with you and hanging the motherfucker up. But I got to see evidence. I don't like the way it's being rolled out. I think that now that it's become such a thing, it'll be rolled out just how everything else in other administrations are done over a year or two. The shit don't work at warp speed. Like everything happens with Trump under warp speed. We forget these things take lots of time, right? So I think it'll take time. And I think what'll happen is the Democrats are going to go Epstein so much that whenever it all does actually finally come out, and it comes out to be just under, overpromised, under-delivered kind of thing, 2026 is just around the corner, bro.
Right.
It's a fucking fire not to be fucking with. Now, I'm not saying don't investigate and do all that, but I wouldn't put it at the fucking front every fucking story you run, Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. They're only doing it because they feel like there's a crack in MAGA, and it's not really a crack. It's an influencer crack. Most of us out here in the world, we kind of think we know what the fuck's going on. A bunch of powerful, corrupt, disgusting motherfuckers doing disgusting fucking things with children, with little girls, and maybe little boys, I don't know, children. And they should all be fucking done with. Right,
but when he says
would have
things
never
like,
voted for the...
When he says things like, you know, it's a hoax, like the Epstein list or whatever, the whole thing is a hoax, it's an Obama hoax, it's a Democrat hoax, like... I mean, we all know that Epstein was involved in the
context of politics. It is a hoax. It is another Russia. It is another.
But is
why?
it?
Because it's being blasted. But it's not an actual hoax. But it's a hoax in the sense that it's being blasted across the fucking chyrons on all the TVs. Everybody's trying to pin onto this thing, and just like Trump over fucking promised and under delivered. Fuck around and find out. You're going to over promise and under deliver. Now I hope because if it's, you know, whatever happens, I don't give a fuck if Trump is innocent or guilty personally, in the sense of I want to know. Like, let us see it. If he's guilty, he's guilty. If you don't have proof of guilt, then, you know, I guess he's innocent. And the same with the other people that might be in there. Hang all the motherfuckers that did it wrong.
And what's the logical reason that somebody who is not guilty of these things to not want to then let this out? I mean, he could let it out tomorrow. Because
he doesn't believe it's as big as he doesn't believe it's a big, in my opinion, he doesn't believe it's as big of a thing with.
But do you really?
With the base is what it is.
Is that really true? Was that really true? Or
I don't know. That's my belief. I'm just taking an educated guess and how I feel.
He's been very vociferous about the fact that the people who are demanding that we release the Epstein files, he's called us bad people. He's called, you know, everybody who wants to see those files bad people. He's insulting the people who want to see this information. And, like, to me, why would you want to then cast doubt about what you said you initially brought forward? And look, I understand, like, I've criticized this administration for a while for them not measuring twice before cutting. I mean, that's been a theme this entire administration so far, is everything they've done. They've
but
done
why now? Like, now they're measuring twice, ain't they?
Why is this the particular time where they're now measuring like 17 times? Want to make sure we get it right. Want to make sure people who are innocent or not, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Why was this the magical thing that made them want to act responsibly? And to me, it's like, it doesn't pass the smell test. And it wouldn't pass.
So you mean act responsibly in terms,
like acting responsibly?
Look, I'm quite simply
measuring twice or more before cutting. Like, to me, like, you know, all of a sudden he decides we're going to start being calm and measured and trying to make sure that we don't, you know, make things worse than they already are. When that hasn't been this administration's, you know, modus operandi from the day one.
Well, you got to differentiate talk and actions, you know, first when it comes to those types of things. He says a lot of horrible shit that when you go around, you actually see what the fuck he did or what came out of it. It's usually something you would agree with, or me, for a person that voted in, was for something that he would agree with, whereas the heated up version, I would have been like, what the fuck, bro? Like, that's what a lot of us say, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, we're like, because I'm probably like 60% on board with most of his stuff, you know. I'm not a full 100% or anything like that.
But like, at what point? At what? I mean, really ignoring like I mean, obviously,
the reason nobody cares about it.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say that if it did come out that, you know, yes, 100%, Donald Trump did do all the things that his accusers alleged him of doing, and it's all in the list, and there's all the evidence right there. I will give you the benefit of the doubt, and I will accept. I will accept that you would absolutely.
Well, let me ask
you,
you,
first in line to spit on him or whatever.
Think,
like,
and I appreciate that, but do you think that if do you think there's a possibility that the reason why he's so weird about this and he's so comfortable with it and it's not a big deal is because he knows he hasn't fucking molested children? You know what I mean? And here's the other thing. This is why we all know that he's not on it. Bro, I don't care what anybody says, and if you believe the opposite of this, that's fine. But if there was evidence of him doing something wrong, it would have been out last administration. Come on, let's be intellectually honest with each other. You know, or not each other. I know you are.
That is an argument that's been made by some people to try and say, oh well, and
It's
I
the truth,
basically
though,
have
bro.
I have
That's-
two answers for that. A,
Okay. Yeah.
if the reason that the last administration didn't do it, or previous administrations didn't do it, or I guess only one would be the last one because the previous one was Trump's last one is when he was arrested, when Epstein was arrested and then he died in prison. If it turns out that the reason that the last administration do it is because they were either on the list or protecting people on the list, fuck them. Like, then,
Okay.
that doesn't.
All right. Yeah.
That doesn't.
I'm with that.
That
I'll give you
absolutely
10%.
would explain
Okay.
that.
Yep.
But the other thing.
It does. I'll give you 10.
The other thing is there is a vast difference between Trump administrations and the previous Democratic administrations as it pertains to how they deal with the Department of Justice. Like the Department of Justice under Democratic administrations are typically viewed as the Democratic
It ain't no different.
It
ain't no different. One administration leaves it unspoken and the other one speaks it. It's the same fucking thing. Everybody, when you don't have to know what direction the team's going for the team to go in the same direction. Right?
I mean,
Democrats are better at keeping it quiet. All the Democrats know what they're supposed to do and need to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Trump just says the quiet shit out loud a lot of times. That's the thing. Like
under a Trump
that's
administration,
the thing a lot of people respect about it.
When the Justice Department came forward and came up with the thing as to why they wouldn't be able to bring charges against Biden or whatever, because they felt that he would be too sympathetic to a jury or something.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. What was that guy's name? That James Hurd or something?
Yeah. Would that have happened under a Trump administration? Would a Department of Justice been able to do that under a Trump administration? Or do you think Donald Trump would have prevented them from doing that during his administrations?
Okay, you're asking me if if Trump right now would allow the Justice Department to sit him down for a deposition?
Well, either sit him down for a deposition or just investigate him in general for whether or not crimes were done during his tenure. Like, I don't think they would. I don't think he would allow.
Well, do you have to have the president's? This gets into a very right. So does the possibility exist for these things? Yes, but you can't deal in absolutes,
I'm
right?
making the argument that under the Trump administration, you do have to have Trump's permission to be able to do those things, and that thing would have happened under Biden and Obama administrations. That those things could happen because they give the Department of Justice more autonomy. Yes, the direction that you want the country to go. Yes, that there are certain things that might be priorities to the administration, but like even with let's say
all right, let me frame it like this. I think yes, I do think that he would. Let me hold on, I'm so sorry. I do think that it would happen the exact same way, actually, because of the fact that there was actual shit found prior to what that investigation was. It was coming on the heels of evidence being found of something. Questions had to be asked. If there was evidence found of something and it was like that, or if Trump called and said, I turned these things in, right? Hey, I found these and I turned them in. Do I think that the Justice Department would follow that same procedure that they did with Biden? Not in the vacuum of just doing it willy-nilly without a reason. I do. There's a chance there that they wouldn't, absolutely, right? There's always that chance. But no, I think that they would handle it exactly the same way.
I don't think that's the case, though. And also, let's look at the Hunter Biden thing. During, at the beginning of, I think the Trump administration, they were investigating Hunter Biden for all the, stuff they said Hunter Biden did or whatever. And,
right.
If President Biden was doing that to the Trump kids at the end of his administration, would Donald Trump have allowed the investigation and the trial to continue, or would Donald Trump have basically said, "Nope, I'm going to fire everybody who was," because Biden kept on the federal attorney from Delaware who was doing the investigation of Hunter Biden to not make it seem like there was any impropriety going on. Whereas
I don't know. Me personally, I'd be like, hey, bro, I like you a lot. We've been friends for 45 fucking years. Thanks for, I know you did this right and buy the book and everything, but it's my son. You got to eat shit and go over to this other department or something.
But
shit happens out there.
So
you know what I mean?
I don't think. I think Donald Trump would absolutely have fired the guy and closed and told the Justice Department.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Probably. I'm sure Donald Trump.
No, maybe fired.
Well, fired, but then also dismissed dismiss the case and be like,
Maybe.
you know, the
I'll
new
give you-
AG
I'll
would
give
be
you maybe.
like, yeah, Bondi would not have allowed an investigation or a trial of any of Trump's children to continue going into Trump's administration. I do not believe.
Well, I would have to see evidence of that. All right, I'd have to see evidence of that to be on your side. But I will say that I don't believe that. But that's just my belief. And that's all that I can say to it. I don't have anything to stand on with that necessarily off the top of my head.
Fair enough, but you know that's my point. Is that I do believe that, you know, I mean, maybe it's a situation like I said, the first option of maybe they were protecting people as well, and if so, F them. I mean, I'm already mad at Joe Biden because when it came out that Donald Trump called corrupt bankers Shylocks, which is absolutely an anti-Semitic term. It came out that Joe Biden had also done that, and I hadn't heard that in the past. And had I known that in the past, I would have been very openly against
That's a
Joe
whole
Biden.
weird rabbit hole.
Right.
On video-wise, I could find you could find 10 times more clips of things that could perceived as Biden saying racist things versus Trump saying racist things. It's actually kind of
But I mean, there's
wild. The world's wild. The world's wild.
There's perceiving versus there's actual.
That's
like,
why I said it.
If there was a video showing a politician dropping the N-bomb, I think we would all say that's not cool. As long as, you know, if it's you know, whether it's Biden or Trump, or as long as it's a white politician, you know, dropping the N-bomb, you know, there's no arguing around it. Like, to me, like,
that's racist. We're on one team on that right there. You drop the hard R, bro, you are racist.
But even if you drop the soft A, if you're white, it's not your place, not your position. Don't say it.
Yeah, maybe you grew up in the projects and you was the only white person, and they afforded you the opportunity to drop the small A. But you know, you can only use it colloquially within your own hood. Because they know that you're like...
There was a time where I was working in a restaurant, and one of the chefs was like, Dan, I had never told this before to any white person before, but you're my... And so,
that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest compliment you can ever
but
get.
I still won't say it because
included.
it's not my word to say. So
yeah, you can't, bro. Yeah,
exactly.
Don't like
but
if you ever feel like it. Theo Vaughn said a great joke about this. I laughed my ass off when I heard it. He said, you know, if I'm ever feeling racist or something like that, I'll just write it down. Just write it down. You know, if you ever feel like, you know, you need a little relief, Dan, just write it down on a piece of paper, man. Get it out of you, you know.
Usually when I'm angry at people, it's because they cut me off, not because it's the color of the skin of who cut me off. That's normally the people that get my anger, and there's typically no racial epithets going along with it. It's just other colorful metaphors and other four-letter wordy dirge that will say that. But anyway.
Do you have anything else? Is there anything?
I was just about to say, let me get back to the people in the chat, because, and I'm sure I'm almost done anyway. It's wow, I made it to 10:33 after all the technical difficulties. Holy crap! But anyway, thank you for calling in. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, no, it was good talking to you, man.
It was good talking to you.
Yeah, I enjoy the show, and you know, I would just say, hey, remember that exercise of optimism, and two other things. I would just leave you with, try to keep these in your mind. Perfect is the enemy of good. And adjectives are the bane of friendship, of coming together. Your adjectives people's adjectives, all of our adjectives cause more problems. Leave them out.
To me, if my adjectives are causing somebody to run away and be all upset at me,
they give away the bias.
Maybe they're, you know, maybe that person is a little bit too much of a snowflake, right? But anyway.
Well, it could be, but it just gives away the bias. But yeah, hey, have a good talking to you. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, thanks. You too. I do not believe we will be turning on the phone lines again. Let's just go ahead and just do not disturb it, because I'm probably not going to take another call in a second. Yes, Nazi is a noun. Exactly, Kimchi. And I don't think I said hello to the goddess Kimchi yet. Hello to the goddess Kimchi. Welcome to the chat. You're always welcome, as always. Let's see, sorry, Dan. I want to have slap some wisdom. What? I know you retracted it. I only read half of it. I guess you typed it wrong. I don't know. But yeah, there's, you know, Kimchi had made some points in there. I guess you could read in the chat or whatever. Best buds for 25 years. Of course, he knew. He assaulted little girls with Epstein. Read the court cases. That's one of the things. Like, I am firmly of the camp that we need to listen to people who come forward and tell us that they're victims. We need to give them the opportunity to non-judgmentally come out, and that's what when people say believe women, it's when it's just shorthand for when people come forward as victims. You need to give them the opportunity to, without casting doubt, without casting aspersions, without making them seem like they're the bad guy. You have to be able to give them the ability to tell their story. And if their story's wrong, then it'll come out in the wash. It'll come out, it'll say, that there's something will be wrong, inconsistent with what's going on with the story. But like in the example of the situation where I was once falsely accused back in high school, and I've talked about this before, but as soon as I found out that they were not going to be bringing charges against me, and I later found out why, because her story that she told the cops was all full of crap and inconsistencies, and then the police report stopped at the point where she would have told the officer that the next day she went back to see me after I supposedly sexually assaulted her. To which I'm sure they said, wait, he sexually assaulted you and then you went back to go see him the next day? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why would you go back and see the person who sexually assaulted you? So again, but I made the conscious decision. And the first thing that came to my mind after the relief flooded through my entire body was that I'm going to have to make sure that I do not allow myself to be swayed by this one liar about anybody else who comes forward with claims that they were assaulted, because it would be unfair to them for me to do that. And I literally had this, I could picture where I was. I was like, I had just kind of gotten up from the dinner table in the apartment that we had in Baltimore, and I was kind of like walking down the hallway, and I could still see like what the hallway looked like as I was having that thought. Like, I can still remember that to this day. And this is before Me Too. This is before anybody was very vocal about, trusting people who come forward, believing people to come forward. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to tell the truth, but it means that we need to give them the opportunity to tell the truth. And if you listen to the people who have come forward and explained what Donald Trump did to them, what happened to them under Epstein, and both, I think it paints a much larger picture but you have to want to go read those stuff. And I understand it's very hard to read that sort of stuff, but I mean, it's easier to believe them regardless, simply because of the fact of the things that Donald Trump has said in and of itself. Bragging to Howard Stern that he would walk into dressing rooms filled with teenage girls in various manners of forms of undress, like, basically gawking at them and saying that because he runs the whole thing, he can do that because that's what he can do. I mean, his other stories that he's, you already know that he says that he had no problem grabbing them by the hoo-ha. And when asked in a deposition over the E. Jean Carroll case as to whether or not that was him being serious or just joking around with locker room talk, he had every opportunity to say, look, it was just locker room talk. It was just me and this guy talking about, BS. I really don't believe that's something that people should do. But no, he doubled down and said, yes, absolutely, wealthy people have been doing it for millions of years. And so he did not deny it. He did not, say anything, other than the fact that just confirming that he believes that rich people, wealthy people could just walk up and grab people without obtaining their consent first. And that's what rapists do. I mean, we could actually say the word rape here instead of grape because, this isn't TikTok and, we're not children. I think what is one of the most ridiculous things about TikTok is the fact that we have to say things in our own language out of fear that somebody can't handle the fact that we're having an adult conversation about these issues. So, anyway. Kimchi, 13-year-olds don't fake essays, just saying. Well, I'm saying, yeah. But again, I don't believe that the rate that people make false accusations as compared to, the rate where people are being truthful is no different than the rate of false accusations for any other crime. I've seen no evidence to tell me that it's any different. So why would I believe that somebody is instantly lying when, maybe the rate is no more than 4%, 5% at the very, very most. So, Big Hook, yeah, I think I'm finished taking calls. I think I'm going to end soon because it is 10:40 at this point. Susie Jones says Savannah Guthrie interviewed 6 women who were trafficked. Go watch the interview. Yes, I would absolutely. Let's see. Take the claim seriously and then fully vet it. Exactly, Trucker John. Take every claim of abuse, of assault, seriously, then do an investigation, and don't be an idiot. Like, I know people who were raped, who the police ask terrible questions, like, did you enjoy it? Did you have an orgasm? Like, did your body react in such a way that you had no control over? Like, yeah, you can, there are, somebody said something. There was a case with a guy, and he was passed out. And somebody went and rode him at a party specifically with the intent to get herself pregnant, and she did, and he was held liable to pay the child support, even though he was literally raped by this person. But they still forced him to pay child support, which, is a rare circumstance to take place, but still, nobody should be punished for being a rape victim. Nobody should be held financially responsible for being a rape victim, regardless of whether or not that's, because you're suffering losses from the abuse and the injuries that you took place, or if, some a-hole wants to be like, oh, well, you have to pay me child support now because I didn't give you a choice in what I forced upon you. So, but yes, exactly, Trucker John. Don't blame the victim. So, yeah, telling a 10-year-old he would be dating her in 10 years, he was so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, hell, he talked about how much he wanted to fuck his own daughter. It's fucking gross in and of itself. But, I don't know. Again, like, there are going to be people who are, sometimes it's a matter, I guess, picking your battles or whatever. Like I was more trying to, like, I know, Kimchi, you were definitely spitting some truths whilst we were on the phone with Chad, but my point was just trying to get more of a 30,000 foot view of Chad's ideas and feelings and beliefs or whatever on these certain things, and we could dive down to the nitty gritty yet, but to one of the things he was saying, that I do kind of agree with. Yes, I've often also said, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We should never let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Which is why we got Trump in the first place, because of all the people on the left who didn't want to vote for Harris or Biden because they were mad about how the last administration was dealing with the Palestinians when there was no evidence that Trump would treat them any better. And now there's evidence that, it's absolutely treating them worse. But, it is what it is. But I'm sorry, that's Trump's line right there.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. But, I wasn't necessarily feeling that I was going to be getting much traction getting into the nitty-gritty stuff. We have to get agreement on the higher level stuff before we sink down into the nitty-gritty. So I'm just happy that, at this point that, we have more and more people who are conservatives who have voted for Trump who are willing to say that if he's on that list, then he should be, buried under the prison just along with everybody else. So now, how do we get more people to the point of believing that he's on the list? I mean, we then, go piece by piece, bit by bit, things he said, things he's done, and we try and build a little patchwork. But again, as he says, if you come at people too hard, sometimes they're going to push you back. And now the question is, am I coming at people who are conservatives too hard because and in a mistaken way? Like, do I believe that some of these people who I attack, who I berate, who I chastise and criticize, do I believe that I'm doing these things to get through to these particular conservatives specifically? Ignoring Chad for a second, though, on that one. Normally if I'm having an argument with somebody who is a conservative, like on Facebook, or if I'm arguing with somebody on the radio, I'm not saying these things specifically to try and convince that individual. Like, I don't think I'll ever convince Jeff Carrera that he's wrong a second in my life. Like, there's no way that I think that I'm going to ever get Jeff Carrera to change his mind and support the right side of things. But when I argue vociferously with people, when I call into a show, when I argue with people on the internet, like on Facebook or whatever, about these issues dealing with politics, it's usually not done to sway the opinion of the person who I am having that argument with. It's typically done to counter the things that are being said by that individual, so that other people who are reading along with the conversation don't, get fooled by that person and the falsehoods that they're saying. So, Chad, I'm voting for Trump 2028. Stop trolling. I mean, I'm wondering if that would be enough to get some MAGA folks to be like, okay, he's gone too far, simply because of the fact that he is not legally able to run for president in 2028. Now, there's arguments to be made as to whether or not he could run as vice president, because of how oddly worded the whole thing is in the separate parts of the Constitution that deal with presidential eligibility and vice presidential eligibility. That being said, him actually trying to run for president, above and beyond just him trolling the people who are worried about it. If there are people who will still vote for him and still support him and still back him if he tries that, then you can't ever tell me that you love the Constitution. You can't ever tell me that you respect the Constitution. You can't ever tell me anything about the Constitution, because you're clearly just on the whole lines of that Connor dude who was having that interview with Mehdi Hassan. So, why would you vote for a shriveled apricot? I mean, some people have voted for that same shriveled apricot 3 different times in a row now. But yeah, like many times when I have a political argument, it's not for the benefit of the person who I'm having the argument with. It's for the benefit of the other people who are watching, because I don't want to let things out there unchallenged, because that's how we end up getting in a situation. Now, I mean, if I really did feel that somebody was redeemable, if I really did feel that somebody was an individual who could be swayed, I mean, yeah, I probably am going to take a little bit more of a gentle tone with them, because I will probably have some faith that if I view them as being open-minded enough to be able to change their minds, then absolutely I'll take a different path with them than I would with somebody who I believe is irredeemable, somebody who I think is not, whatever, you know what I mean? If somebody can convince me or has me convinced that I could potentially change their minds, then I will try and change their minds, and I will tone down the rhetoric as one would in such a situation. But if I don't think that the person is redeemable, if I don't think that the person has any intention, any ability, any capabilities of changing their mind, then I really at that point don't give a fuck about how I deal with that individual person. Because at that point, what am I supposed to do? Do I think being nicer to somebody who wants, to keep on voting for Nazi policies? Do I think that person is going to somehow change their mind and be like, oh, well, Dan was nice to me today, so maybe I'll change my mind? No. So that's part of it right there. So I mow over the apricots under the tree. Now, I like dried apricots. Dried apricots are good. Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so let's see. Chad admitted to having a small wiener in chat. Well, some of the best people do. Not maybe some of the best lovers, but some of the best people. Actually, no. There's not everything to sex is not everything about the penis. And that if more men understood that sex was not just about the penis, then maybe more women who are heterosexual would be satisfied. But that might be a topic of conversation to be had for like a Liberal Dan After Dark type show, and not for regular version of Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. So, anyway. Chad, not gonna lie, you are charming. Need a profile picture to see if you're cute. It's all, it'd be Liberal Dan dating. We'll have see everybody's profile on liberaldan.com. Anyway, see, Vicky needs more volume for me. What, the hair or the volume of the podcast? could just because I'm not talking directly enough into the microphone. I don't know. Anyway, or it could just be that it dropped all the way down to 61. That's why, because this thing is effing stupid. And this thing is also, should be this as well. And again, bring that up to 100, and that should probably make the volume much better at this point, because holy crap. Why am I having so many technical difficulties today? Alan, leave my profile off. I'm a cave troll. Yeah, but you're the nicest cave troll we know. I'd rather have you as a cave troll than so many other people who are not cave trolls. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and cancel the show. Because of, again, Tom Lehrer and him passing, we are going to play a couple of the Tom Lehrer songs that I've reimagined as we head off, maybe followed by some of the other stuff as well. But again, if you would normally watch me on Tuesdays at nerdydan.com on Twitch, I will not be live tomorrow simply because of the fact that I'm going to go see Weird Al in concert. We'll be back Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel. I don't know if there will be a show Monday. Maybe I'll do the show Sunday, or just to be able to just have an extra show that week or whatever. I don't know if I'll have a show Monday simply because colonoscopy prep. And I don't want to have to be here and having to run over there real quick and then miss. Y'all don't need to deal with all that. So anyway, so thank y'all very much. Appreciate y'all. See you Wednesday. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Go to store.liberaldanradio.com to buy some shirts. Patreon.com/liberaldan or patreon.liberaldan.com. Venmo me. Buy super chats, super stickers, gift subscriptions, gift memberships over on, or gift subscriptions on Twitch, gift memberships here on YouTube. And of course, the most important thing is to interact with videos, like, share, tell other people to like, comment, share, etc. We need more rhythm. Al Gore needs more rhythm. That's why we need to help the algorithm. So till next time, thank you very much. Peace.
Of unpleasant names, but it's not against any religion to want to dispose of a pigeon. So if someday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park, and maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two while we're poisoning pigeons in the park. And maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two while we're poisoning pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amid laughter at merriment, except for the few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine. Me feed to a pigeon, it just takes a smidgen to poison a pigeon in the park.
I ache
for the touch of your lips, dear, but much more for the touch of your whips, dear. You can raise welts like nobody else as we dance to the masochism polka. Let our love be a flame, not an ember. Say it's me that you want to dismember. Blacken my eye, set fire to my tie as we dance to the masochism polka. At your command, before you here I stand. My heart is in my hand. Ugh, it's here that I must be. My heart entreats. Just hear those savage beats and go put on your cleats and come and trample me. Your heart is hard as stone or mahogany. That's why I'm in such exquisite agony. My soul is on fire, it's aflame with desire, which is why I perspire when we coca. You caught my nose in your left castanet, love. I can feel the pain yet, love. Every time I hear drums and I envy the rose that you held in your teeth, love, with the thorns underneath, love, sticking into your gums. Your eyes cast a spell that bewitches. The last time I needed 20 stitches, oh, to sew up the gash that you made with your lash as we dance to the masochism polka. Bash in my brain and make me scream with pain, then kick me once again and say we'll never part. I know too well I'm underneath your spell, so darling, if you smell something burning is my heart, excuse me, take your cigarette from its holder and burn your initials in my shoulder. Fracture my spine and swear that you're mine as we dance to the masochism polka. Smut, give me smut and nothing but a dirty novel I can't shut if it's uncut and unsucked. Oh, I've never quibbled. If it was ribbled, I would devour where others merely nibbled. As the judge remarked the day that he acquitted my importance to be smut, it must be utterly without redeeming social importance. Poor, no graphic pictures I adore. Indecent magazines galore, I like them more if they're hardcore. Play on the obscene movies, murals, postcards, neckties, samplers, stained glass windows, tattoos, anything more, I'm still not satisfied. Stories of tortures used by debauchers, lurid, licentious, and vile, make me smile. Novels that pander to my taste for cat to give me a pleasure sublime. Let's face it, I love slime. Old books can be indecent books, though recent books are bolder. For filth, I'm glad to say, is in the mind of the beholder. When correctly viewed, everything is lewd. I could tell you things about Peter Pan and the Wizard of Oz. There's a dirty old man I thrill to any book like Fanny Hill, and I suppose I'll always will if it is swill. And really filthy, who needs a hobby like Hannes or Phil Latley? I've got a hobby, we're reading lighty shadowy, but now they're trying to take it all away from us unless we take a stand. And hand in hand, we fight for freedom of the press. In other words, slut, I love it. The adventures of a slut. Oh, I'm a market they can't glut. I don't know what compares with smut. Hip, hip, hooray. Let's hear it for the Supreme Court. Don't let them take it away. I don't know what compares with smut. Hip, hip, hooray! Let's hear it for the Supreme Court. Don't let them take it away. welter down there in your shelter. You can see me on your TV while we make a necropolis. Watch George Stephanopoulos describing all the populace and cities we have lost. No need for you to miss a minute of the nuclear holocaust. Little Johnny Jones, he was a U.S. pilot, and no shrinking violet was he. He was mighty proud when World War III was declared. He wasn't scared, no siree. And this is what he said on his way to Armageddon. So long, Mom, I'm off to drop the bomb, so don't wait up for me. But though I may roam, I'll come back to my home. Although it may be a pile of debris, remember, Mommy, I'm off to get a commie. So send me a salami and try to smile somehow. I'll look for you when the war is over, an hour and a half from now. When someone makes a move of which we don't approve, who is it that always intervenes? UN and OASA have their place, I guess, but first, send the Marines. We'll send them all we've got, John Wayne and Randolph Scott. Remember those exciting fighting scenes to the shores of Tripoli, but not to Mississippi. What do? We send the Marines. For might makes right until they've seen the light. They've got to be protected, all their rights respected, till somebody we like can be elected. Members of the Corps all hate the thought of war. They'd rather kill them off by peaceful means. Stop calling it aggression. Ooh, we hate that expression. We only want the world to know that we support the status quo. They love us everywhere we go. So when in doubt, send Marines. The creative director at WGSO had a little something he thought you should know. When Dan picked on his bits, Steve got real gruff. So Steve called Dan a flake, called him liberal dandruff. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, 'cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest. Steve's about to find out his mistake. In this feud, Dan's Kendrick, Steve is Drake. Dan might not be the world's best singer, but he's got more talent in his little finger. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, 'cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest.